What's up? What's good, everybody? Good night, good evening, and good morning. In reverse, of course, I was wishing you all the best throughout the day, even though the day is already gone. And we are at the end of our weekend and ready for another week of work. Good to see you all. Happy to be here with you. Happy to see you guys. And gal, if my wife is in the chat somewhere. Of course, I've been in the chat myself, as you've all seen. Let me say some quick hellos. Of course, Hydra, we'll see you later. Maybe. What? Yeah. Wife confirming she is here. She is here indeed. Thank you. Mike Asbell, good to see you. Good to see you, as always. Hydra's always a tease. Always drops in quick and then leaves and never comes back. Right, Tom? Susie Q. I just got word from Susie. Susie Q says she's gonna be late. Stuck in traffic. So we'll see. Maybe later, you know? Don't tell anybody. You know? She keeps disappointing you all, right? So just in case. What up, Neo Maxi Zoom Dweebs? Okay, don't get that one, but sure. What up, what up, what up? What up? There she is. What up? What up? What's good with you, CJ? Good to see you. Marcus, what's up? Marcus, I don't know if you were talking about the game I mentioned, but man, I wish I could see a replay of that game. I didn't see it. And I don't think it was televised here. But boy, would I love to see that Bears-Bengals game. Tonight at Club Obi-Wan, anything goes, sung by Willie Jones. Good evening, Rickster. What's going on? Anticlimactic after the doozy. Let me tell you, if you're talking about the same doozy, or even if you're not, I gotta say tonight's Sunday night game is bogus. I mean, for me, anyways. No offense to anybody who's a fan of Seattle or whoever they're playing, but yeah, just not an interesting game for Sunday night football. So I'm glad I'm here with you all. There you go. I hope that's the one you're talking about. Foosball is the devil. What's up, Stingray? The man. All those wearing tight pants, touching each other's butts, so nasty. Don't be so anti-gay. That's not cool. Good evening, Peter. Good to see you. Good to see you, John Brown, as always, for sure. Cadence knows what? What does Cadence know? Peter, Newell, John, hello. Gabe, what's up, Gabe? Ruben, where's the hat, buddy? Haven't seen you wear it in a while. Which one? Which hat? Which hat are you talking about? Tom? I put on my LA Dodgers cap for a picture last night. I think you saw that one. And Sam Maroney's here. Greetings to you, sir. Look at that, Peter, with a big giant hellos as always. Like that. And CJ back and forth. And oh, look at that. It's so strange, guys, man. So I guess we all see the same thing. We're all seeing like Dwayne Zappain. Dwayne Zappain's name is saying Damperobi. Do you all see that? It's so bizarre, man. I hope they switch it back to whatever they did. I hope they switch back to what they had it before. This is ridiculous. There's people that don't show up here, more than once in a while. And then I see their avatar. They show up. I see their avatar. I recognize the avatar, but then I forget what the name is, because they got some weird name all of a sudden. That's not even remotely close to the one they used to have. So YouTube, get to it, man. Fix that. Sucks. What's up, Dwayne, by the way? Peter, Pumpkin Eater. And who do we got? Who else do we got? Everyone should tag Susan on the socials. Marcus, I might get a lawyer's cease and desist if that happens. Maybe we want to kind of clamp down on that idea, Good song. Good song. I was watching and it says not available. You were watching what? I got the ones I wanted. I'm not terribly upset. Hey, Maki Poo Poo. What's good, Michael? And who else do we have? More hellos. Hey, what's up? Brian in the house. Mr. Red Jack. What's good with you? Know going on after that cool Marvel 2-in-1 page? You'd have been a hat you used to wear. Oh, my own, the personalized hat or whatever. Yes. Thanks for reminding me. To be honest, when I was younger, I wore hats, pretty often. But and then I stopped because I found that I got a headache after a while. I feel like it just bothers me, So just like I feel like being, I prefer the feeling of, having, being free, having nothing sort of encased over my head, whatever. That's my preference, even though I do like having the caps, but I don't know, just so much more comfortable not having a cap, And thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. The man without hats. Good, it's good musical reference by the one and only CJ, the music man himself. Of course. Who else would it be but you, CJ? And I can dance if I want to. I won't, but I can. It's not all on YouTube. It's not all on YouTube show. Okay, the grammar not the greatest, so I don't know what you're trying to say. Yo, look at you, see guys? Look at that. We used to know him as JC, and now, without his permission, YouTube insists that we call him Juan Carlos. You know what I mean? Like, it's a great name, but like without his permission, you know what I mean? Like, we're supposed to have the ability to use aliases if we want to. That's the whole point, right? When you're online. And whatever it is that YouTube did, suddenly they're screwing around with that. And now JC is forced to reveal that he's Juan Carlos and not Jesus Cristo. So the jig is up for you, man, JC. Sorry, but that's not me. That's a YouTube thing. So more hellos. I pictured last Sunday's paintings when book club mentioned Gothic romance covers. So I don't know what you mean by this. I am assuming that you're making a reference that you are a part of a book club, and then at your book club, someone mentioned Gothic romance covers, and that made you picture last Sunday's paintings. Let me know if I've got that down, Peter. Oh, look at that. Speaking of last Sunday's Gothic romance paintings, my friend and co-host, Lowell Wilson himself. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for dropping by to say hello and asking everybody to hit that like button. I appreciate it. Yeah, please, everybody, if you're watching, 28 of you. I don't know how many have hit the like, but please, if you're watching, just hit the like down here, the thumbs up icon right around here somewhere. Just provides a little bit of encouragement. No financial benefits to me whatsoever, so you don't have to worry about that. And hold on, look at that. Sean in the house. Sean Clancy making the copies. Remember that? I used to love that. Did Ruben watch Welcome to Derry? I didn't. Remind me which one that one is. Is that the It? Is that the It show? The show about It? The sequel to It? Remind me. Hey, Stanley. I don't know if you heard me earlier, a couple of minutes back. She called to say she's stuck in traffic and late right now. So, hey, what's up? See, look at that. Caesar now is revealed to be Shemp's art. Through no volition of his own, just YouTube forcing him to be revealed as Shemp's art. Good to see you, Caesar. Either way, under any name, it's always a pleasure. Under any name. Thank you as well, you silent viewers that are tuning in and watching and not commenting in the live chat. I appreciate you all as well. And let's see who else. Hey, more hellos. Twisted Metal, greater than Welcome to Derry. Well, apparently, Marcus, Tom is not a fan of Welcome to Derry. Hey, what's good, Ian? What's happening, buddy? Mr. Red Jack sounds like a wrestling name. It's not all on YouTube shows. The name changes. It's not on all the shows. Interesting, right? Interesting. Okay. Yes, and Peter confirming. Thank you. Interesting. Okay, cool. you should maybe suggest that they try reading a Gothic romance novel. But, you know, suggest that they start off trying one of the 12 satanic Gothics, because at least with some, you know, sex and occult stuff happening, it's bound to be more interesting than your run-of-the-mill Gothic romance, you know? And yeah, for shits and giggles, you should suggest that the book club read it. I mean, you know, the average novel is like 136 to 100 and, I don't know, 70 something pages. So easy, quick read. Why not? You know, just a suggestion. And who else? Hellos back and forth. Ruben the Confused. At times. In Canada, is Canada morning after last night's bed? I don't know if Canada's morning. Certainly, most people in Toronto and in the province of Ontario in general. But, you know, to me, it's like people keep reaching out to me like, oh, yeah, you know, the people who knew I was watching the World Series, right? And, oh, you know, yeah, sorry about that, whatever. It's like, what do you mean sorry, man? It's like, go Dodgers, baby, woo! Like, they just, people, I don't get it when people automatically just assume that because, you know, I'm Canadian, that, oh, I must automatically be rooting for a team simply because it's based in Canada. No. In 1977, that team entered the league. I was only 7 years old, and I heard the nickname Blue Jays. I thought, even as a 7-year-old, I thought, what a sap name. What a bunch of saps, right? And then I saw the uniforms, the baby blues, like even more saps. Like, what sissies? What a sissy franchise that is. And then thirdly, I thought, Canada already has a team, man. Expos forever. Like, what do you need a second one for? Yeah, so I hated them from the get-go, and that's it. I've never cheered for them since. Except briefly during that Joe Carter winning the World Series with the walk-off home run. Only because at that point, there were several players I used to follow on different teams, right? Like Roberto Alomar and Joe Carter when he was on the Indians. So I already liked those guys. So I'm a player follower. So they started getting, you know, quite a few guys that I liked from their former teams. And because in combination with that, I also despised the Philadelphia Phillies. I was like, okay, I guess I'd rather have the Jays win than the Phillies. Yeah. So that was the only time ever cheered the Toronto Blue Jays on. Okay, so that's my name. Nothing to hide. There you go. Not definitely nothing to hide for sure. It's just you know, there's a reason people use their aliases, and it really shouldn't have been up to YouTube to reveal some of those people's real names like that. It's, you know, without permissions. It's weird, you know. Yes, it. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. No. So I haven't. I don't know that I will. I can't say that I'm like a huge fan of it. You know, I thought it was fine. You know, it's an all right movie. You know, but yeah, it's not like one of my all-time favorite like horror movies or anything like that. You know, even though I love Killer Clowns. You know what clown I love the best? Killer Clown. Marcus, if you haven't watched it, you got to check out. I forget the season number, but whatever season number it was, for American Horror Story, there was a season with a killer clown. Oh, that's a scary clown. That was awesome. Holy shit. That's highly recommended. Yeah. Check it out if you like killer clowns, man. Let me see. Anyone watch Welcome to Dairy About the Milk Farmer? What's up, Mike? You guys are funny. Hey, look at that. Mickey enjoying his tan, you know, from Hawaii. Yes, Maui. What's up, buddy? And who else is here? I haven't watched the Blue Jays game yet, so don't tell me how it ends. Yeah, Rich. Yeah, that's right. That is right. Yay! By the way, A. Lee 1374 with these crazy names that YouTube shows us. How about you give me a name you would like me to refer to you as? I would like that. I would like that better. No reason to be sorry to be late to the party. Give me a name that I can refer to you as. Your preference of name. Should I say Lee? Is it Ailey? Should I call you 1374 or 1374? Give me a name and make it a simple one. Hello to you, Kenneth. What's happening, Kenneth? Good to see you. Kenneth, the big winner recently on Nikki B's show. And let me see. Blue Jays and Mariners entered. That's right. They were the two expansion teams that year. Exactly. Olerud. I wasn't a fan of Olerud. You know what, Michael? When he came into the league, I was hoping, because he was a pitcher hitter. Imagine that. Back in 1990, I think was his rookie year, if I remember correctly. He was a pitcher hitter. But in the minors and in, high school, whatever. But they, back in those days, it was unheard of. It was like, no. You choose one or the other. And the Jays drafted him. They wanted him to be a first baseman, an everyday player. So never got to pitch and show if he could be good at that, Trying to hang out while working late on a Sunday night. No worries. Nasty Boys, Philly, yeah. No, the Nasty Boys were the Reds, man. The Cincinnati Reds of that same era, 1990, right? 1990 when they went to the World Series. Those were the Nasty Boys. Norm Charlton and them guys. Look at that. Who are you, Ailey? No clowning around and Derry. Krusty the Clown. He's pretty scary. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Never saw that. Clown was missing half his face. I don't remember that. No, it's just that he had. It's. I don't want to say it, but check it out, Marcus. It's awesome. It featured Flash 123 and Detective 298. Did it? I haven't watched it in a long time. Twist the Clown Freak Show, the best season on 8. Oh, look at that. Brian's a fan. There you go, Marcus. Look at that. You got a secondary person bringing it up. And he says it's the best season. I really love that show. I fell off because they took a break for a few years, I guess. And I just kind of dropped off. I think I saw up to season 7 or 8 or something like that. So I've got whatever it is. I've got the last 4 seasons I never saw. But I will eventually get to them because it's a great show. Great show. Twisty the Clown. Alligator. Seriously? Oh my God. I'll do that if you don't give me a better name. Alligator. Hey, Carl. What's happening, man? Carl, I'm going to talk about comics. You want to join me for a little while I talk about comics? Yeah, that's a good reminder, everybody. Tonight is live studio night, and I know that usually falls on deaf ears, and most of you never want to pop in. Obviously, I can't force you, but for those of you who don't mind popping in for a while, you're all welcome. Anybody's welcome. And you can find the key to the studio down below in the description of the video. There's a highlighted link. You just click it, and you'll pop into the studio. Would like to have somebody here, maybe comic, especially people who read comics over the last 10, 15 years. I've got a few things to talk about as far as comics, and I'd like to get at least one person. It'd be nice to have somebody with me who might sort of stay back and, go back and forth with me if they've read any of those. Wearing those glasses is more of a Chris Sable guy. I used to hate that guy for that reason. Just the look, his look. I hated Sable. Chris Sable. Ugh. Blast from the past, though, right? I don't watch a single game of the playoffs since my team got eliminated, but I watched the second half of the game last night. Man, you should have watched the whole game. It was a crazy game. I mean, if you're rooting for the Dodgers, it was insane because it was just like you just felt all game long. You felt like it was just going to go bad, And I'm going to start off tonight. I've got several topics tonight. Shockingly, original art isn't really one of them. If it is, it'll be the last one, and that's only if you guys have something you want to talk about. But I got a list of things I'm going to get to, and I'm going to get to them in order, just so that it's easier for me to just break up the chapters later after the show for the rewind viewers. Hey, Rich, hey, oh yeah, Wild Thing. I used to love Wild Thing because not as a fan, but I used to love him when they played the Expos because almost every time there was a tight game and they brought Wild Thing in, he would blow the save. I loved that when yeah. So I'd be like, they're bringing in Wild Thing. I'd be like, yes, we got it. It's our game. We've got this one. Yeah, I loved him. That's what I remember him best for, like blowing saves. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Rich remembers like me. The Nasty Boys. Rob Dibble. Exactly. All blasts from the past. How can you call yourself a fan of Killer Clowns? I've never seen Killer Clowns. Well, because that one always looked incredibly stupid, and I don't want to waste my time. That's pretty much it. The idea sounds stupid, so the title sounds stupid, and I figure it's a 99% chance it's going to suck balls. So that's why I've never seen it. I hear Killer Clown, and all I can think of is outer space. Oh, yeah. That's exactly, they go together. Milk and cookies, I dropped off AHS with the Lady Gaga season. Oh, so you watched the Killer Clown then. You must have watched the Killer Clown. I think the Lady Gaga season came after. Pretty sure. Scary Clowns, Art the Clown from the... What? Scary Clowns, Art the Clown from the Terrifier. I've never seen any... I don't even know what the Terrifier is. Caesar, so let us know. Is that a movie? Live studio is scarier than Halloween. That's why nobody ever wants to come in with me. That's why nobody's popped in yet, even though I so kindly asked for some random person to do so. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a classic movie. Brian, Brian, now that you've mentioned it, just because you love the clown season of American Horror Story, I might actually feel like I'm forced to check it out. Okay, I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. Hated clowns as a child. Wife is finishing up putting the kids to bed. Might be watching a show with her later. No worries. Thanks, Carl. Alligator is talking to Tom, telling him he's a newbie, been in the hobby for about 6 months. Now, that's really new. Coming over from comic collecting after been in hiatus for years. Senior handle and past videos here. Yeah. Tom's a regular, Alligator. Tom's a regular. And, Tom... Alligator here. He's been talking me up a storm in the comment section of multiple videos of mine, asking me mega questions, which is good. New people should always feel like they can ask questions, and so that's good. I hope you've had a great time in all seriousness, Alligator, so far in your first 6 months, and I hope it keeps going. And yes, welcome to the show, indeed. I got you. Just didn't know the cause of how the names show now. Yeah, that's right. Do you think that no one wants to manufacture runs anymore and it's just home run and strikeouts? The thing is about that, Marcus, I kind of agree, yeah, because, and I've been saying this for like quite some time, where I was like, I don't really follow baseball like anymore. Just kind of purely football now for a long time. I used to eat, breathe, sleep baseball once upon a time, in the 80s and 90s, up into the mid 90s-ish. And then kind of started tailing off until the Expos were gone. And then, when they put the stake in my heart, I just kind of like that was it, But yeah, the whole idea of sort of bunt to move the runner along. Although I did see that just yesterday, in fact. So that was kind of interesting. But sacrifice flies. Although, you can't just command a sack fly, right? But certainly sacrifice a bunt. But the thing I miss the most to manufacture runs, Marcus, is stealing. I love base steal. I mean, look, you know me, man. Ricky Henderson all day, Tim Raines all day, So I miss base stealing. It's like it doesn't happen anymore. You never see people stealing bases. And plus, they changed the rule on stealing bases, which is I read up on it. It sounds so stupid to me now. It kind of makes it easier to steal, and yet people still don't seem to steal bases much. Yeah, they that old school way of playing the game, it's really kind of changed, you know. But yeah, a lot of people going for the home runs, and it just, yeah, I definitely agree with that, actually. Yeah. If she passes them out, I'll pop in later. You know, I mean, if she passes them out and you don't watch a movie or show with her, yeah, okay, no worries. How can you dislike Chris Sabo? He went to Michigan. I know. Doesn't mean I love it. Look, I'm a fan. I happen to be a fan of the, the college and professional football teams. Doesn't mean I'm a fan of every single thing related to Michigan. I mean, never really been any kind of a huge fan of the Detroit Tigers, as in for instance, but Al or Alfonso, yeah, easier than alligator, I'll tell you that. All right, Al, you can call me Betty. No, you can. How's that song go? You can call me Buddy, but Betty, when you call me, you can call me Al. Do 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 do. Yeah. Paul Simon in the 80s. So yes, indeed. Try to get used to the etiquette of actively participating. No worries. You'll see everybody screws around on my channel quite a lot, Al. Like really a lot. So you'll see very quickly. You find it very quickly. Everybody's friendly. Everybody's easy to get along with here. So I think that probably makes it kind of easy and fun to want to kind of hang out and participate along with everybody else. I think you'll find, talking about baseball, football. I dislike sports, so I have no idea. People know who I'm talking about. Killer Clowns made by the Chiodo by the Cheeto brothers. They made a few classic movies. Really? Never heard of them. Only Joe Cheeto. Gotta try cooing Amon if you're in Montreal. You know what? I'll probably never try it. Only for the reason that I'll never remember the name of that. For that reason alone, I'll probably never get to try it. That's hilarious. It is stupid, but hilarious. Rodeo clowns earn their money. Killer clowns made by some guys that made Tales from the Hood. Yo, what's up, Carl? What's good? Oh, Ron Friends is here. Wow. Where's Ron? I haven't seen Ron. What's up? What up, Carl? Oh, Derek Neiman. Derek Neiman in the house. Been here forever. Or I should say, you haven't been here forever. What's good, Derek? Good to see you. And Ruben loves questions. Questions are a burden to others. Answers are a prison for oneself. Nice. The prisoner. Carl, you guys have done a TLDR. Lou Brock. Sam. Lou. Listen, I never really got a chance to see Lou play, but I'm a fan as a fan of the history of the game. Definitely. And I thought of him when I was mentioning, the two base stealers I mentioned. I thought of him, obviously. How can you not think of him when you talk about Henderson breaking the record and all that, right? But yeah, I just didn't want to start going down the road because then I'd have to mention this guy who I also used to hate. And before anybody asks, I used to hate Vince Coleman. I really didn't like the Cardinals as a franchise in general. But Bob Gibson, there's another one for you, Sam. Bob Gibson with the 1.12 ERA, 1968. Holy bejesus. But yeah, Coleman, yeah, I didn't like the franchise. Plus, he himself, I felt like he wasn't a good enough hitter for me to like him. So in other words, I felt like he was more of a more one-dimensional, not good enough of a hitter for my tastes. I don't really, I don't remember what his career stats are in terms of, batting average or whatever, but while he was playing, I just didn't, I thought he was more about just the base stealing kind of, that's kind of it, But yeah, too busy, talk Valiant. I don't know who you're asking, but there must be Newell. We could get some photos together. Nice. Paul Simon song. You remember that, right? Yes, sir. Chevy Chase sang that song. Well, no, but he was in the video. What's scarier than live studio? Rune singing. It is quite scary, I admit. I've never denied that, Peter. Well, you could be in in a studio for a duet with Ruben. That's right. Pop in, we'll sing together. You know, so far I've noticed that because I think it's because I'm not monetized. I think that's the reason. But, you know, from everything that I've read about YouTube and how it works, the algorithms are actually good enough that you're not even allowed to sing a melody. Like, you can't just start singing on a live stream or on a pre-recorded video and expect to not get a copyright strike sent to you. You know, the algorithm apparently can recognize the melody. So even if you just sing it, apparently it gets recognized. But what I've noticed is, you know, YouTube also hates a lot. You know, I've talked about this before, where there's a bunch of words that are like they don't want people to use. It's not like they'll shut you down, but I guess people who are monetized, they will demonetize you. So again, words like kill, murder, rape, sexual assault, that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, they want to penalize you or whatever. But you know, it's never stopped me from saying those words, normal, regular, everyday words from the English language. I've never gotten any trouble, and so that's why, because of that, I feel that the reason is that, and it's just a guess, it's an educated guess. I think it's because since I'm not monetized, probably they program the algorithm to only bother with channels that are monetized, you know, and that way, anytime they copyright strikes people, you know, they don't have to pay them the money for that video or whatever. So yeah. So far so good. We can sing, we can dance, we can say whatever we want, and so far no trouble. And the video called me, oh, very annoying song, just my opinion. It was fun at the time. That's all I can say. So see you guys, because the name's changed. I don't know if this is a new person or an old person. I don't recognize the avatar. Are you a new person? All I see is Kilted Corgi. Hello. Let us know if you're new or if we know you. It's crazy. The Terrifier 2016 horror slasher film features a killer clown. Okay. Has 2 sequels. Wow. I've never heard of the movie until this summer. Quite popular. Okay. So is it good, though? Is it worth my time, or is it just a waste of time? Let me know, man. Dueling duets. Yeah, thank everyone who backed ever my Kickstarter. Ruben, thanks to Kip for kicking us off. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yes, ending soon, everybody. If you haven't decided, or if you're still thinking about it, a few days left to go and pick up the Evermind comics from Carl's Kickstarter. And yeah, I wouldn't lie to you. If I hadn't liked the first 4 issues, I would have been honest when I had Carl on the show a couple of weeks back. But I really did enjoy it. I'm really actually looking forward to getting my 6-issue thing that I bought on the Kickstarter, so that I'll probably reread it too, just so I can read all 6 in one shot, you know. And I rarely do that, but I enjoyed it that much. So be sure you check it out, everybody, if you're considering it, if you're on the fence. With daylight savings time, did you bank your extra hour? Yeah, I don't know what you mean by banking it. I mean, I changed the clocks and all that. So I mean, it's, it would have been 9:35 Eastern right now, 6:35 West Coast, but it's not. It's 5:35 West Coast and 8:35. So it's the usual, Devon White. See, I liked him when he was a California Angel, though. You see, that's what I'm saying. Then when he went to the Jays, it was just like, ugh, But yeah, good old Devon. Gary Coleman, not as good at stealing bases. Oh man, oh man, that's a good one, Carl. I love it, love it. Look at that, Gibby. Man, you're the right generation, my friend. You're the right generation. Unlike Pepsi, the choice of a new generation. Fired from work, termination. You like that, huh? I wonder if anybody knows what I just did there. It's a musical reference. TJ, what's good? I just jump on and hear Ruben tell a new viewer how friendly he is until he talks about using colored framing mats, and then watch out. That's right. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. Gary Coleman movie where he was living in a subway station locker. I don't know. I vaguely remember that, like one of those made-for-TV things, whatever. Or Harrison Ford, yeah. Everyone has diamonds in the soles of his shoes to steal bases on the diamond. I still have an old pair of cleats. I still have my last pair of cleats. No diamonds in them, you know. Look at Jewish dragons. Ian, how the hell would you know that? What? That's crazy. Wait a second. Ian, is that you under a different, there's no way that's a coincidence. There's no, guys, just so you know. So Al, known as A-Lee1374 here, Al was, talking with me in the comment section of one of my other videos today. And he mentioned to me when he was in Montreal, one of my favorite things was eating the, that thing he said to eat. And he told me you can get it at the Couin Aman, however you pronounce that. And he even gave me the address. And now Ian, all the way in California, is giving me the exact address and the same name. What? There's no way. That's another account. Is that you? You're the same guy under a different account. That's crazy. All right. You got to go back to work. Hope to shoot the proverbial shit with you folks again soon. Regards to Matt. I'll do that. Matt, you'll be watching later. Matt. Al says hello to you. As a Mets fan, I hated the Cardinals of the 80s. Yeah, me too. But I hated the Mets too. So sorry, Rich. I know you gave me all that love on the Expos, but I hated the Mets. But I got to be honest, it's part of it is because they took Gary Carter, and then as soon as they took him, they won the World Series. You got to understand how I hated them, yeah. You can have Ruben karaoke. Why not? We might. Can't even have a good time. We always have a good time here. But you still didn't tell me are you new here? First time here? Kilted Corgi? Seahawks throwbacks are so good, they should change back permanently. You mean, I don't know, are they wearing them tonight? Let me know. Derek WC, not a number. So weird, man, these crazy new names. Unalive Stroke. Exactly. Hey, Derek, I know that's seven minutes ago. Derek, if you're still around, do you have any time to pop in at all? Not for the whole thing, but I want to talk about comics, and I got to get into it. I want to talk about comics, and some of the comics are the ones that you recommended to me. Oh, that would be great if you can make it for a few minutes. Let me know if you've got time. That would be awesome. Monetize, that's right. Watch the movie On the Right Track. On the Right Track, that's the one. I do remember that. Nice one, Rick. Nice one. Place to get good again. The buttery. You guys are crazy. Definitely on a watch list now. I probably was before. Definitely not. Definitely. Subscribe. Oh, look at that. Brand new Kilted Corgi. Newbie in the house. What's good, buddy? All right. I appreciate that, man. But hey, do me a favor. I know this sounds weird to you. You never hear people on YouTube say this. But if you should decide, like after tonight, like, I don't have really time, or it's fun, but it's not fun enough for me to come back, and you don't want to watch the content in the future. Please, if you could at least remember, come back just to unsubscribe. Okay? I know it sounds weird. Trust me on that, though. If you decide ultimately that you're not going to be able to watch or don't want to watch, just at least come back to unsubscribe. I would appreciate that. Okay? Terrifier is not for the faint of heart. Ooh, it sounds good. Let me quickly write it down, guys. Where's my pen? Oh, no. Hey, Arwen, if you're around, is anybody around? If you can get my pen on the kitchen, one of the kitchen counters, I think that's the last time I saw it. That'd be great. In front of the coffee machine, that's the last time I saw it. Huh? I appreciate get mine. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Terrifier sucks at the art. The clown is lame. Okay, see, that's the thing about entertainment. You get people who agree with you on certain things, but then they have a completely opposite point of view on other things, right? And it makes it tough. It really makes that tough to kind of decide, like, okay, should I watch it? Sometimes. Okay, thanks, honey.
It's just gory.
You saw Terrifier?
I didn't see it. I didn't want to see it.
Oh. Yeah, somebody just kind of hinted that it yeah, Derek said it's not for the faint of heart.
It's too much.
Okay.
My friend saw it in Sec 2.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, everybody. Oh, baby, look who we got. Yeah! Woo!
Yeah. Hey, what's up?
What's up, everybody?
Can you hear me okay?
Oh,
sorry, there's going to be an echo for a second. Let me turn off.
Yeah. No worries, man. How you doing, man?
I was watching you on the big screen. So.
Oh, okay. You doing good?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, man. Good. No recording tonight.
Oh no, I did it on Saturday.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me just finish off a few of these and we'll get right into it. Well, good, Sean killed it. Okay, yeah, for sure. That's Evermind, everybody. Carl's Kickstarter finishing in a few days. Let everybody know, Carl. That's why the show was late. No daylight savings in Arizona. That's right. Parts of Arizona, is from what I understand. Parts of Arizona do change and other parts don't, which is really crazy. K-pop Demon Hunters variant and the Evermind Kickstarter for the win. Look at that. You got the new guy here tonight, Carl. Kilted Corgi, and he's already all hot for your Evermind K-pop Demon Hunter variant. Awesome. Love that. What does the show need more of? Singing and dancing, or Chuck Norris and Harrison Ford? Probably neither. None of the above. Only matzo cheese curds. You thinking about poutine? Keith Hernandez was great in Seinfeld. You know what? I liked Keith Hernandez back in the day. Yeah, he was a good ball player. I didn't love him. I liked him. Gary Card also took Nick's perm. Doc Gooden. I love Doc Gooden. So even though I wasn't a Mets fan, how would you not love Doc Gooden back in the day? Coke was the choice of the new generation. Indeed. Queen Amon. It's pronounced Queen Amon? Wow. For the fake accounts, Al and I have been suspicious and never been seen in the same place at the same time. Seriously, it's a renowned bakery among foodies. All right, man. I'll take both of your words for it. I'll have to maybe take the family out and try that stuff. See how it is. What's up, John C. in the house? See, you guys asked John C. what he thought of last night's loss for the Blue Jays. I bet you he was rooting for them just because he's Canadian. But then again, he's not in Ontario, so he may not have. I don't know. But John is also the kind of guy who he is very patriotic. Not that I'm not. I'm patriotic. But just because I'm patriotic doesn't necessarily mean that I will always cheer for the Canadian team versus, or Canadian athlete versus the non-Canadian, So Peter Terrifier is quite the gore fest. Okay, yeah. If it's overly gory, then I like stuff, but not overly gory for the sake of being gory. Just a gross movie. Yeah, okay. So I'm not sure if I'm going to try that. Art the Clown isn't even Stingray adjacent. Movies are great if you can get people to feel passionate on both sides. That's true. Derek the Brave. He's been brave a few times though, Peter. The Prof. Indeed. Need to do Stingray art. El profesor está aquí. Yes, sir. Terrifier 1 was all right, but 2 and 3 more torture porn. Okay. And if you're saying it's only all right, then yeah, even number 1 ain't great. Okay.
It depends on what you're into. I mean, if you're into 80s slasher films, but with that kind of turned up to 11, torture porn. It's very gory. Like,
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Extremely, extremely, extremely gory.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Like if that's not your deal, then you probably don't want to watch those movies. And I mean, I was curious, so I watched them. I have a friend who like loves them, so I was like, oh, okay. I just wanted to see, you know, what the big deal was, what the hype was, and everything. And I think a couple Halloweens ago, like I think, oh, that's what I did. A couple Halloweens ago, I hadn't seen any of them, so I watched the first one and the second one back to back, and then this previous Halloween, by that point the third one had come out, so that was, you know, my Halloween movie or whatever. But
these movies all hit the theater.
Yes, like with I mean with like, you know, I think they played in very limited release, you know, where it was like, you know, I don't know, it started out like 500 theaters or 1,000 theaters or whatever it was. It wasn't like, you know, mass release or anything like that. But I think, I mean, you kind of knew it hit the big time once they started doing like Funko Pops of Art the Clown and, you know, all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like where it was like before, I kind of thought, oh, this is like, I mean, it was kind of like a low budget, you know, indie thing that blew up, right? And so you were kind of like, oh wow, that's, you know, like sometimes I would see people dressed up as Art the Clown, and I would take, you know, at shows, you know, cons or whatever, and so I would take a photo because at that point it was like a novelty. I was like, oh shit, they know who Art the Clown is, and I would send it to my friend who loves, you know, the Terrifier movies and be like, look at this, somebody's dressed up as Art the Clown. But I think at this point it's like dressing up as Harley Quinn. Like I think everybody knows now who Art the Clown is, and it's kind of like old hat. There's like NECA figures and Mezco 112 figures and all kinds of shit for Art the Clown.
Really?
Now I'm like now it's kind of like an institution, right? Like now it's everywhere. So
really,
yeah,
it's funny. Okay, all right, I'll take your word for it, man. Can you do a show about your favorite ways to frame art? No. All Canadians don't think alike. What? I like it rough. Depends what you're talking about. I saw the original when it was shown on.
I got to give Ruben props for keeping up with all the comments because I've already lost track of.
Well, you know, but that's because, you know, I love you guys, you know, interacting with me and stuff. So I make the effort, obviously. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, it's very clear.
Yeah. Gwynn's face was as smooth as a swing. Yeah, man. Not a Boggs fan, but Tony Gwynn was my man. Intentionally over gory. Yeah, so I'm getting a lot of that sense there, guys. That it's yeah. I think I'm gonna agree. I think based on what everybody has said so far, it probably is the kind of thing that's gory for the sake of being gory and, you know, for shock value, and therefore I gotta say, I can take a lot. I can. But when it's pointless, I don't like that. I just, for the sake of being gory, I'm not a fan. So I can take it. I can watch it, but I'm not a fan because I feel like it's pointless. So it kind of pisses me off.
Usually, in each of those movies, there's the scene. And it's like the scene in the movie where if you're gonna walk out in a huff and be angry and say this is unacceptable or whatever, it's probably gonna be that scene. And there's one of those scenes in each of the films where I think for the people that take it as dark humor, right, they anticipate that and look forward to it. For the people that probably don't like gore and, you know, what you're talking about, just gore for gore's sake or whatever, you know, maybe then you're like, and even me, I think I watched it and like, I'm not, you know, offended by it or anything like that, but right. There is that kind of moment where you're watching it and you're just like, holy shit, like this is pretty intense, you know, like This is pretty grisly, you know. So
okay, so Kilted Corgi saying just watch it in black and white if it's too gory, old school effect. No, because like I said, Corgi, it's not that I can take it, right? It's not like I'm gonna be like ready to puke or whatever. I can take it. It's that I just feel if it's pointless, you're wasting my time. That's just how I feel. It's like you don't need to go over the top with, okay, I killed you, I stabbed you, or whatever. I get the point. You don't need to show all your entrails spilling out of the body, on purpose, just to try to be gross for the sake of being gross. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. So even if it was black and white, for me, it doesn't matter. It's like, I'd rather watch that. If I'm going to watch it, I'll watch it in color, It's just that it's pointless. I find being over the top that way is pointless. I'm curious, though, Mr. Professor, did you watch the Saw films franchise? At least some of them?
No, actually, like I when people talk about how do they label it, torture porn or whatever, like that seemed to be like part of that genre. I know I think I watched the first Hostel, and I thought it was an interesting movie, but I think after that, like when they started making sequels to everything, like I guess I've escaped the. I know Saw is like the same thing. It's like there's like 8 or 9 of those movies or whatever by this point, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I haven't seen one of them. So it's just something that sort of I don't know if it escaped my notice or I just wasn't like super keen on it or whatever. I think I've probably seen like sequences from it because I've had to play like trivia questions or you know what I mean, like horror where they show you like a clip and then you have to like guess about where it's from or something like that. So I've probably seen like clips from those movies, or maybe like when people are doing, YouTube reviews and they're comparing, this set of films and that set of films or whatever. Yeah. But I've never actually like sat down and watched any of the Saw movies. But so I couldn't really give you a basis of comparison, but I'm fairly confident that the Terrifier movies like way outdo the Saw movies.
Okay. Well, I'll say so. I probably saw the first 4 Saws, and what I liked about it. I mean, listen, I like the first one the best, and it kind of gets progressively not so good, I guess, like often happens with these things. What I loved about Saw, so just starting about talking about the first one in general, is just that I found the cleverness of the traps that the victims need to try to
room aspect to it, and the riddles and all that kind of stuff.
Right, the riddles and all that. Right. So it's that, right? The cleverness about it. That's what I like. It's not that, the victims as they're dying because they didn't solve it properly and now they're getting, squished or cut up or whatever. I don't care to see that. You know what I mean? Like it's fine, I'll see it, but it's not that I watch it for. It's just I want it to be smart horror. And I think that when you come up with clever sort of ideas and things like that, that's what I like. And that's why I left this Derek's comment up, saying shock value is not the same as fright. I prefer horror movies that scare me psychologically and disturb me to the core. Yeah. And without the need for the over-the-top aspects of blood and gore, and and things like that.
I mean, there's no getting around it. Like there's certainly some over the top aspects. I do think maybe what attracts people to the Terrifier franchise is I don't know, maybe I'm wrong because like I said, I missed the whole Saw thing. So maybe I'm wrong and Jigsaw is in that same, I don't know, pantheon of like, the great 80s, talking about Michael Myers and Freddy Krueger and Jason and Leatherface and all these guys, right? And so maybe, or Pennywise, you guys were talking about Welcome to Derry or whatever. Like maybe Jigsaw is a part of that pantheon, but I kind of feel like Art the Clown is like one of those characters where, they're trying to build some kind of, mythology, and he's got that kind of like, who is this guy, like where does he come from, like he's got that whole mysterious Wolverine Cable backstory, like you don't know quite what the hell is going on, but there's something there. So in that sense, like I could see why, even if you were not a fan of the overly gratuitous gore, like you still might be curious if you watch, at this point I've sat through 3 of them. So if they come out with a 4th one and it's like, it's going to like reveal like, where this came from and why the angel wings and who the father is and what the fuck the ice cream truck is about and all that stuff, like I'll probably watch it because at this point I'm like, I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to know what the hell this is all about, right? So
yeah. No, I get that. I get that. Who knows? Maybe it's like, look, I got my movies to watch here. I'm going to write it down. 22, 23, 24. Let me write that. Is it The Terrifier?
No, it's just Terrifier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Terrifier.
Yeah, the first one's like what? Like I think it's gonna be like 10 years old now. Like I feel.
Oh, okay.
Or it's
Okay.
coming up on 10 years or something. So what is it like 2026? So I think I feel like the first one came out in like 20. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I feel like the first one I wasn't really aware of it. Like it came out in like maybe before the pandemic for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I think, you know, the sequel was filmed during the pandemic, so there was talk about, you know how I said each movie has like the scene. So there was talk about, oh, you know, in the second film there's the scene, and they went back and like reshot it, like they shot some stuff, you know, during and around the pandemic, and then before it got released to theaters, I think they did some reshoots or whatever, and I think that got released in like, it must have been like 2023 or something like that.
Oh, the sequel, you mean?
Yeah. So it took a while, like because of all those, you know, post-production kind of, you know, shenanigans, people, you know, getting back to normality. Like it took a while before they finally released it, and then it got released in the theaters, I think around 2022, 2023, something like that. I saw it, you know, a few Halloweens ago, and then it was new, and then this last year, the third one was new at the time, and I watched that one. So
okay. Yeah, another one that I remember watching that around the same time, a little bit after Saw, Brian here is mentioning Hostel. I remember enjoying that. I remember the idea of, because I've always thought of the idea of like staying in hostels as like, I'd be like, I'd never do that. Never would I do that. I mean, just for the security reasons, you know.
When I was young, like when I was essentially,
you were a hostel goer,
right? I stayed at some hostels. I mean,
okay.
that was part of that whole. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's different today because I haven't traveled overseas in a long time, you know. But I mean, at the time, it was, or like when I did it, you know, it was like, oh, you buy the Frommer's Guide, and the Frommer's Guide would tell you, you know, like, oh, if you want to stay at a posh place that's like, you know, $300 a night, you go here. But if you wanna, you know, if you wanna backpack around Europe and do it cheaply, you know, oh, stay at this bed and breakfast, stay at this hostel or whatever. And so, you know, I probably lean more toward the bed and breakfast, but there were times where I stayed at hostels and stuff like that. It wasn't, you know, and I found that movie interesting, at least in the sense that I thought it was kind of like a, you know, it was more like a revenge tragedy. Do you know what I mean? Like it was like I like the aspect of it. Like I'm not into torture porn or whatever the hell they call it. Like that like kind of like what you were saying. It's like I like more about stories. Like I don't really like Michael Madsen in Reservoir Dogs. Like I'm not like him. I don't get my jollies off like just torturing people and that kind of thing. Like
that's an awful
you know, so for me, it's like that's not my attraction to those films, but I did like the aspect of you know, it's been like, I don't know, 25 years since I've seen the movie, but from my recollection, it's like the one guy gets into it and some of his friends get killed and all this other stuff, but then like he kind of turns it around on those guys and takes it back to them, right? Like so you're like, by that point, like you've sort of, I don't know, gone on that journey with that protagonist character. And so at that point now it's like, even though you were shocked and appalled and you abhorred the violence, since you went through the experience, the person who was abused or whatever, then you were then on his side when he kind of took it back to them and kind of dished out the same, you know, horrific shit that was perpetrated on them. And you feel like some sense of like, oh yeah, this is, you know, it's like a revenge tragedy. You go along with the person, and by the end of it, you're like all for Hamlet killing, you know, all these guys, right? Because you're like, oh, well, they fucking deserve it, you know, like look at all this shit they heaped on them, you know, type thing. So, but that was kind of how I, you know, thought of it at the time. But I was probably, I don't know, my head was probably, you know, much more in a, I don't know, a theatrical, kind of like, acting vein or whatever. So that's kind of how I thought of Hostel. But I think somebody said like they couldn't get into it after the second film, and I don't even think I got that far, because I thought the first idea was interesting, it was clever, and then I'm like, oh, now it's going to be this franchise, right, and they're just going to make like a shit ton of them, and I don't think I went down that road. So
yeah, I don't remember details very much anymore, but I remember thinking on the I really enjoyed the first one, and so I watched the second one, and what I remember from the second one is thinking over the top, not with the group. Yes, and there's something about what happens to one of the females towards the end. It was like so over the top. I was like, okay, this is getting, where it's like stupid, right? It's like, okay, this is over the top stupid. I don't even necessarily mean just the gore, but the way things happen and what happens to the woman, whatever. It's just, you're like, okay, whatever. Like, yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, I don't know if they made any more after the second one, but I always imagine they'd probably do a 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, as long as they can still make a little bit of a profit, right? But even if they did, I would not watch it. It's like, it's already like, okay, number 2 is already kind of eh. So for me, it's like, okay, I'll recommend number 1. I'm a fan enough of it, but that's it, So yeah, Marcus, come on, name some good ones. He says that I finally watched The Substance. Dude, you now see, the secret has been revealed. You're here all the time, but you're not always listening. You're doing other things at the same time. Because I talked about this on one of my shows. To let you guys know, here's my list, right? Here's my list. And look which one was right at the top, guys. Can you read that?
Looks like you circled it as well. Does that mean you watched
it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what meant I watched it. Yeah. Remind me though, Substance, that's the one with the G.I. Jane, right? What's her name?
Is that Demi? Oh,
Demi Moore? Demi Moore? Yeah.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I don't. Despite me having seen all the Terrifier movies, I don't really keep up with movies very much.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get a little bit whenever I can get back into it a little bit. Like I said, this show is kind of what has taken up a lot of my free time, and it's kind of a big reason why I don't really read a lot anymore or watch stuff anymore. But I'm trying to, because it gives me stuff to talk about with you guys, from time to time. So
what did you end up reading the Dark Legion stuff? Like what did you?
Yeah,
what did you end up reading?
So let me get into the comics, everybody. So yeah, it's time for comic talk. Okay, that's it for the movie talk. Let me get this. Sorry, let me hear your hair. And yes, I did. And I anyways, just so you know, Marcus, I really, really, really liked it. But the ending of The Substance, again, way over the top, to the point that it looked so fake. The makeup was so bad at the end. It was like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I kind of wish they didn't take it that far. I thought the whole thing was scary as long as she still looked human, right? Human, but like an old hag. That was scary. But once it went beyond that, to me, it kind of ruins it a bit. But overall, very good. I enjoyed it, definitely. Okay, that's it for movie talk. Thanks, everybody. That was a lot of fun. And it was not planned, but it ended up being horror movie talk. Which is okay because, as you guys saw, the reason I put up this thumbnail, and it looks very scary, and last week's background I'm using again now. It's only not because I intended there was nothing going to be any horror related stuff tonight. Simply because it's the Halloween weekend. That's the only reason I decided to do that, and I thought the skulls looked cool for the thumbnail. But yeah, wasn't planning on doing anything horror, but it ties in pretty nicely. I'm glad that we ended up getting to talk about horror in particular when it came to the movie stuff. So thank you. So that's one thing. We talked about sports, and we talked about the movies and some shows, and now it's time for the comic talk, right? And so for comic talk, all right. So I've got a list of some books here. And I hope that some of you guys will, and I've mentioned this before, I hope that some of you guys will maybe get a little bit, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? that watching me mention from time to time comics that I'm reading, knowing that I don't read much anymore, that I'm making the effort to try to read more stuff now again, get back into reading. Inspired, that's the word. I hope maybe some of this inspires those of you who no longer read comics at all, right? Who are just strictly like comic art collectors but don't read anything. Other than maybe occasionally the old stuff. You get your trade paperbacks for the 60s, 70s, and 80s stuff, whatever. Maybe this will encourage you guys to try out new things. Because on occasion, I have friends who will tell me like, hey, I think you might actually like this. And they're talking about new stuff. And, I've been making that effort a little bit here and there. And that's why I'm glad Derek's here and was willing to come on into the studio with me tonight. Because, Derek emailed me a few weeks ago and simply to tell me about this 3-part story that he said he thought I might like. Right? And I'm going to show you what that is right now. So it's not just talking. I figure in case anything here sounds interesting to you guys, I can show you. So it's a 3-part story, very recent. All right, check out. I'll show you the 3 covers in succession. All right, it's from the current Superman title. All right, it's a 3-part story called Legion of Darkseid. Just very quickly, Legion's going bad. It's part of like what DC is doing, if I can say this in a very simple way. DC is currently in the process of building up an entire series of mini-series, if you will, leading up to, like a big story about Darkseid. Darkseid, the all-powerful, and the DC universe is going to have to come together to try to defeat him. And so Derek told me about this 3-part series, but interestingly enough, he wasn't telling me or suggesting that I read it because he thought, oh, look, Legion, going bad, Darkseid, blah, blah, the big bad. No, he recommended it to me because he knows that I like and appreciate Superboy Prime. And that character comes out in this story and he says, oh, I think you might enjoy his appearance in this. And that's why he recommended it to me. So let me show you the second cover. Here, it's very cool, very nice, great angle, worm's eye view from behind. I like that. And this is the third one here. And Booster Gold, for those of you that are Booster fans, he's in it too. I guess we could leave the first one up.
0, Marcus. Maxima plays 0 role in this story.
Let me see. Let me just catch up here. You guys are still talking about movies and do trivia to stump there. News from the... okay, look at this. I'll talk about that. It's coming. Invisible Man, monsters, blind bags have been hot horror. Okay. Hot Superman summer. What role does Maxima play? I really like that Legion 3-part story arc. Brian's been reading it. Nice, Brian. K.O. series looks stupid to me. Okay, so I'm going to talk about that. Let me just sort of get through this because I was going to email you, Derek. Obviously, you suggested it to me, so obviously I wanted to let you know what I thought. And in case people are watching, and it's a pretty recent little storyline here, I'm not going to really say anything about it. I will say though that guys, me, remember, not usually a science fiction guy, in particular, the element of time travel. I really hate that. This has Legion, and again, DC. How DC is. DC with their different timelines and multiverses and all that crap. I got to tell you though, I enjoyed this storyline, and not just because I enjoyed the Superboy Prime moments. Which I really did enjoy. So thank you, Derek. That was pretty fun. Yeah, that was good stuff. But just the story in general seems like fun. Or it was fun. I say it seems like fun because it's not over yet. It's continuing into the next
That, I guess that's the nature of the beast, right? They do these story arcs, and then the story arc continues, and another story arc, and another story arc. Like, I'm gonna be honest, when I got to the end of it, it's like, follow this in, Justice League
Right.
Unlimited, and follow this in such and such, and I was just kind of like, no, I don't think I will. But
Oh, really?
I liked the 3-parter. Like, I thought it was fun.
Okay.
I like Dan Moira's art. Like, I think it's great.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
and the story for the most part was fun. I mean, I guess it's kind of tied into that whole absolute, I think that's the concept, right? Like, basically, if Darkseid kicked off the absolute universe, then, maybe waiting, in the far future of that universe is this dark, horrific, Legion type, guys and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And, I know some people, it's like either you love them or you hate them, right? Either you love Superboy Prime or you hate his guts, right? But
right.
I mean, I think by the end of Death Metal, or whatever the fuck that was called, Death Metal,
I never read it, but I know
whatever. But like,
Metal,
there was kind of like a coda for Superboy Prime where they kind of gave him a happy ending. They kind of gave him, a bit of a, redemption where he got scuffled off to like his own little happy, universe or whatever. And then this kind of, picks up where that left off, kind of thing. And they play around with it, right? They do the whole kind of like, is he a bad guy, is he not a bad guy? And I just thought it was kind of fun, and I enjoyed the direction of the story, and how that kind of ran. And for the most part, like, I don't know, I kind of cherry pick lately. Like, I mean, I don't read everything. I just kind of, if something looks interesting to me, or somebody says, hey, I read this week and it looks really good, or whatever, or I see something that just kind of strikes my fancy, like, I check it out. So and this was one of those things where I had been following that whole, I mean, it kind of made me laugh, but the whole thing where Doomsday is the time trapper and stuff, like, so that was in earlier issues from this, and I tried to sort of warn you about that, but you were just like, I don't care about that. I'll start with this.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, do what you want, but if you want to have some inkling of how that started, I think it's like it starts with like issue 19, and then it goes for a few issues after that, like 19 to 23 or so. Something that they probably can collect in a trade or whatever it is. So
yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. So that was the thing. So I will say, so I overall enjoyed it, but I got to tell you, because I haven't, I don't read very much comics. Obviously, I'm going to be lost about what's going on in all these universes,
in the wider. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of stuff these days I am too, because I noticed I haven't been keeping up with stuff. Like, I was reading the New Gods book, and then the Justice League show up in that New Gods book, and it dawned on me, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on with this Justice League. So I was just like, to me, it's like, oh, this is like the first time I'm even, getting a smattering of what was going on with them or whatever. So
yeah, but it's funny because I remember you mentioning something about it that when I blew that off, I was like, yeah, don't worry about that, whatever. But then when I read these 3 issues, I still enjoyed it as a whole, but I remember thinking, what the hell is that Doomsday? Why is the time trapper looking like? Why is he looking like Doomsday? Yeah,
because in this story he is the time trapper. Like he is. I don't know, man. The time trapper's been so many people at this point; it doesn't really matter. So but also I think it's one of those DC things where like when I first read it, I was like, what the fuck is this? And you get weirded out by it. But I think the longer it sticks around, it's like Bat Cow. Like, I just treat it as commonplace. Like, yeah, of course Doomsday is the time trapper or whatever, right? Like, and so it's kind of like, people are like, what do you mean Damian has a cow because he's a vegetarian? And I'm like, he owns a freaking cow and it's named Bat Cow. What's the big deal? So.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was like, okay, I was like, but I was, thank God. I'm like, what? Why does he look like Doomsday? But he's not as big, but he kind of looks like a relative of Doomsday. And then I'm like, I think Derek told me something about that. I think that's what I kind of blew off. I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter because overall, I'm at the end of the story, and overall, I enjoyed it anyway, in spite of that. So I was like, no problem. I'm good with that, you know? And I would still recommend it to comic readers who just want a 3-part fun story to read. Yeah, I thought it was fun if you like DC. So I'll say that. And I want to let you guys know, for those of you, who don't really read, it's leading into this thing called DC K.O. K.O. as a knockout, and not a knockout like me, like a beautiful guy, but knockout, knockout, boxing, that kind of thing. So here, let me show you. So DC K.O. All right, this is like the next kind of big event. Now, I don't know if it's a 5-part story, and I don't know if that then leads into an even bigger one or not. I don't know. But I know that this is now out. The first of the 5 issues is out. And I haven't read it. I'm going to read it because I am curious, even though Brian's not into it. But Stanley says he is into it. He says it sounds good. I am curious, but basically it's 5 issues because Darkseid has, I don't know, done something with the multiverse, made 5 layers of it or something. Anyways, bottom line is all the DC universe are going to have to go to battle in like a battle royal, basically, where it's kind of like the old Roman Colosseum, so to speak, or whatever.
It's like
right? A tournament is what I'm looking for.
It's a tournament anime. It's a tournament anime. They're lining up everybody in tournament brackets. It was supposed to be a big event where they even had the brackets where, I think at New York and San Diego, they're asking people, of this bracket, who do you go with? Harley Quinn, or I don't know, I forget who it was, Zatanna or something. And then people walked in one direction or the other direction based on, which hero, villain, whatever that they thought would win. I mean, I don't know. It seems like this is one of those things where they are. I mean, it could be fun. I think I looked at the first issue and I thought it was wise. I think they incorporate this into the story, but it all goes pear-shaped. But I thought it was cool how like the heroes are like, well, we definitely don't want any of the bad guys to be involved in this tournament because we don't want them getting, the power prize at the end of it. But of course, everything goes pear-shaped anyway, and you got like Joker and Lex and whatever. Of course, at the same time, I'm kind of scratching my head because people like Lobo and Harley are so popular. They somehow weren't included in that. And I was just kind of like, are you kidding me? Like, if you're going to excise, like, if you're going to like not include the Joker and Lex Luthor, then you better not include Lobo and Harley Quinn. Come on. Like,
but how do you already know who's included and who isn't?
Well, because that first issue came out, so I mean I've read the first issue.
Oh, you have read it? Oh.
Yeah. So I know like the basic gist of what happens in the first issue. The only thing I'm a little confused about is I've seen like press releases now, and I think they're gonna mess with that bracket because I don't think it's just gonna be DC characters anymore. Like there was some announcement where like Homelander's going to show up, and people from Mortal Kombat are going to show up, and I think like wrestling superstars are going to show up or some shit. I don't know.
Mark is saying Mortal Kombat.
I think like a bunch of different characters. There was some press release about that, and for sure, there were different characters from other companies. And
you mean they're going to appear in this 5-issue series?
I think during the battle to shake things up, like you expect, like, you think it's going to go down the regular tournament chart, so people are already like making predictions going, I think, basically like a lot of people are doing all the different matchups, and they think, I think it's going to come down to Lex versus Superman, or I think it's going to come down to whoever, right? But I think throwing a monkey wrench into the works, it's like Homelander's going to be there, and so you're like, what? Who's
Homelander?
The dude from The Boys.
I only read the first trade, and I don't remember. It's been years, so I never saw the show.
He's basically what, like I don't know, Miracle Man when he went crazy.
Oh,
or
I
like,
see.
Or
Okay.
like the dude from Martial Law. I forget what the Superman
God.
archetype in that was, but you know, like you know, a Superman that's like, you know, not a good guy, right? Like so.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm curious, and I usually am not. Like I usually feel like, ugh, these giant DC whatever events or whatever. I'm always like,
I get it.
I'm always out, but all of a sudden I'm kind of in. I think it's because the idea of the tournament aspect. I was always a fan of the Bloodsport movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then I was a fan of the 2 story arcs of Iron Fist, where it was Iron Fist in a tournament with all these cool characters that I enjoyed. So I guess I just enjoyed the whole tournament aspect, and so that's really what's got my attention. And listen, I'm going in with eyes wide open. I'm prepared to read it and think, oh God, this is crap. And okay, if so, I can always just stop. I'm not going to feel obligated like I once upon a time did, and I got to finish it now because I'm already invested. No, I'll try the first issue. I'll go 1 issue at a time, and if it ever starts to feel like, oh my God, this has immediately jumped the shark, I'm out. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Life's too short, right? Like if you're not into something, just skip it, right? Like
yeah, absolutely. Chumbawamba, baby, Chumbawamba. Dude Love versus Cactus Jack versus Mankind. If it's in a blind bag, even better. Iron Fist in the 7 capital cities of heaven. You know it, baby. You know it. I like how they have Hawkman wrapped up like a mummy, Derek. I also like what happened to Green Lantern. Don't ruin it. I haven't read the first issue yet.
He's talking about something different because we were having a side conversation.
Oh, the evil, something of evil.
Basically they did an absolute Justice League, but it's like all the bad guys in the Absolute universe,
right?
And so we were talking about Terrifier before and everything, how grisly it is, and I feel like in that they do a lot of that shock value. I mean, that's kind of why I was curious what Mr. Red Jack thought about it, and so he's talking about Hawkman, and so and I think he means Green Arrow because that's. I mean, I don't know. Should I spoil it? Like, I'm just like, I think.
Hold on. I think he mentioned earlier it's some kind of a comic called Something Evil or Evil Something.
I think it's Absolute Evil.
Absolute Evil
title.
Yeah. Is it good? Because I don't want you to spoil it if it's pretty good. No, okay.
I don't know. I don't know that I think it's good, but I think Mr. Red Jack said he enjoyed it. If I recall.
Yeah.
He said he loved it. He said
he did. Yeah.
He said it introduces the Absolute Justice League, but they're evil. He really liked how they use Hawkman in the book. My only comment, without spoiling anything, is I thought I thought it was a bit shock value how they used Hawkman.
Oh, okay.
In the book. But so I don't know. It struck me as kind of like what do they call it? To subvert your expectations or whatever. Yeah, so it's like I think that was the goal, right? Hawkman does things you wouldn't normally expect Hawkman to do, so you're supposed to be like,
oh, okay,
whoa!
I like that.
So,
I like that.
Yeah,
that's good.
So
right?
that probably doesn't ruin it for anybody. So
okay, good. I don't know how many issues is it though.
It's just a single. I mean, I don't know if it's going to roll into. I imagine it's.
Forget that. I mean, it's a one shot.
It's a one shot.
Okay, sorry, and it's called Absolute Evil.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute Evil. Okay,
but kind of like my pre-warning about Doomsday being time trapper. I mean, you'll start. I don't think they give you like the long and short of like what you need to know. Like, I think if you haven't been reading like all the bad guys and all those Absolute titles, you might be a little like lost. Like, who's this? Oh, this is this guy. What? Like,
Okay. So then I'll save it because I still intend to try to give the Absolute title. I've only read the 2 first issues of Batman and Wonder Woman, and I haven't even tried Superman. And so I intended to eventually get around to trying them, but I haven't done so yet because there's other things that interest me more. But yeah, I'll keep this in mind and make sure that I'll if I get it, I'll wait until I first try the Absolute titles a little bit more, So, Okay, good stuff. And you know, that's a great segue because it you know how we were just talking about. Oh, look at that. Let me see. Hold on. We got Carl here, but I got to change the view because this view is made only for 2 people. So let me do this, and then let me get this. Oh, hey,
What's up?
what's up, Carl? Yeah, let me put you guys up there, and I'll be by myself down here. But yeah, I think it's a great segue because you know we were just mentioning about how you know one guy says, "Oh, I really love this," and then you know Brian loves that Absolute Evil thing, and then you made that face like you know you weren't the biggest fan of it, and that's what I was mentioning earlier, right? Which is that's what makes it tough, right? When you listen to people, even if they're your friends, it doesn't really. It doesn't guarantee that you're gonna like something or dislike something.
Yeah, you might have not liked that.
Yeah.
Legion of Darkseid, right?
Right,
but
right.
That doesn't. I mean, but I'm not gonna. You know, it's not like it personally, like you know, hurts my feelings or whatever. It's just something I thought maybe you'd get a kick out of, and you turned out you did, right? But,
I did. Yeah. No, it worked out great. And no, the reason I bring it up, man, it's because the next thing that I want to talk about. Let me see if I can get a better view because I'm gonna pop. I got the scans, and I want to pop the scans up, but without covering my face here. Let me see this one. Oh, perfect, excellent. Okay, so everybody, after as Derek and I were talking about that 3-part series, that recent one. You know, within our conversation, it just happened to sort of come up that Derek mentioned to me, and I forget exactly how it came up, but you know, it was related because it was Superman related. So Derek also mentioned that there was a 2-part story that Derek felt was his favorite story of 2016, maybe? I
think it was like 2015 or 16, something like
that.
Yeah.
Right? So let me show you guys the covers. It's a Superman 8 and 9. So here it is. It's from the Rebirth. Yeah, so Rebirth started in 16. So this is either late 16, because I don't know what month it started, or early 17. But that's the first part. So you see Jonathan Kent there, the son, Superman's son, with his dad. Some dinosaurs, which, of course, I always love dinosaurs. And part 2 here with some dinosaurs, white, beautiful gorillas, giant snakes, tanks, or at least one tank. So that's really, really cool. And so, as I said, Derek told me that was his favorite story of that year. So naturally, you know, being a Superman thing, which already interests me, and him telling me that was his favorite, I'm like, yeah, it's only 2 issues. Of course I'm going to track that down. I'm going to read that, you know? And so I read it. And so in this case, I got to tell you, I was, you know, it's funny. I was hoping that you were going to maybe pop in the chat tonight, Derek, just because I wanted to ask you. First, let me just get it out of the way. I did not love this. Okay, but well, the reason I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong. Okay, it's not that I hated it, but the overarching thought in my mind was, what the hell about this did he love so much that he thought it's the best thing he read all year?
Well, I mean, it may just.
No, let me explain my feelings about it, right? Real quick. There's not much to say. I just wanted to say, so Superman, and again, this is being the DC universe, Superman and his son Jonathan Kent, Superboy. There, and you know, if I say things, use the wrong terminology, Derek will correct me after. That's fine. But so again, DC Universe, you know, they always have these different realities, whatever. So it's kind of related to that. So So they get lost in some other kind of multi-universe thing, whatever. I don't know. They're in some other alternate reality, and they got to find their way back home to Lois, right? And in the meanwhile, these two issues are an adventure they go on while they try to find this thing they're looking for that's going to, I guess, help them get back home. And so these two issues, all that really happens is they kind of land on this planet, and suddenly there's dinosaurs, which again, it's cool. I like dinosaurs. And they run into what the hell's his name? One of the guys from The Losers, right? The war comic from DC, The Losers. And they run into him, and I guess they hang out with him, and have their adventure with him, and try to stay alive and not get eaten by some of the dinosaurs. In the end, that Losers guy says, "Okay, guys, I'm going to stay here. This is it for me," or whatever. And Superman and Son decide to take off on their own, and I guess try to make their way back home to Lois. But okay. To me, it just read like any sort of random average 2 issues that you could have read anywhere. And in my head, I kept thinking, as I was reading, I was like, okay, nothing really exciting's happening so far in that first issue. I'm getting towards the end. I'm like, what could it be about this that he loves? Maybe it doesn't happen until the second issue. And then I thought, oh, maybe it's not about the action and what happens. It's maybe there's going to be some kind of heartfelt moment. It's a personal thing that tugs at your heartstrings kind of story. But then that wasn't happening either. I'm like, I don't get it. What does he love about this? It's got to happen soon. The story's coming to an end. And in the end, not only does it come to an end with me thinking, I still don't know what Derek loves. But on top of it, I'm like, they don't even they don't wrap up the story. They're still lost in that whatever, alternative universe. And they're still, it's like, oh, to be continued. And I guess the next issue, they're going to still try to find their way home and go on another adventure on their way there. So Derek, that's why I was hoping that you'd pop in tonight so I could ask you. It's even greater and so appreciative of the fact that you were able to and willing to come on live so I can ask you this and we talk about it in person. Yeah, man, if you could I would love to know what exactly made this your favorite story of that year.
Well, two caveats. I mean, maybe the rest of the things I read that year weren't that hot, and this was just, this was just, I mean, I feel like a lot of stuff lately, I call it like Top Gun Maverick syndrome, which is, you go and see Top Gun Maverick, you go, oh man, that was a super cool movie. But was it like the best movie like you've ever seen? But it's like, well, everything else is such crap that it seems like, super duper, like the best thing ever in comparison. So maybe that's what was going on. The other caveat I'd give is that list I made, it was supposed to be like my favorite single issue for each year that I was alive, and I made it when I was 40. So it was like, okay. I don't know, it went from like 1977 to 2017 or something like that. So I had to settle on one single issue. I had to really, really like it. And I think when I was going through, I looked at, okay, well, what did I, what from, whatever that year was, 2016, had I read? And I, made a little list and kind of went, well, which ones do I like the best? And sometimes, like, maybe there was a storyline that I liked better than this issue, but yeah, I couldn't, sometimes I have a tough time. Like, in other words, pretend the story was that Legion of Darkseid story. Right. I probably wouldn't put that as my favorite single issue because it's a 3-part story. So I'm like, that's not really playing by the rules. And I like that story so much I couldn't settle on just one issue. Or maybe I picked like part 3 because part 3 has like, I don't know, the best Superboy Prime wink moment. And I think it's like the greatest thing ever. So I just put, part 3 as the issue that I like. But I mean, I don't know, to answer your question, have you read The New Frontier? Have you ever read The New Frontier, Darwin Cook's New Frontier?
I did, and I just let me quickly tell you, I love the art, but I found the story boring, and I can't say I'm a fan of it. But maybe I'll have to read.
Okay, that's
maybe
fine.
I'll have to reread it. I'm not sure. You know.
I guess what I would say is, the way you described it, they go to some other world or whatever. I mean, this is Earth, right? This is Dinosaur Island in the DC universe, and it's specifically, by the time you get to the last page, it's Dinosaur Island on the DC universe on the New Frontier Earth. And to me, what was touching about it is they have the little inscription of the losers, written in stone.
Oh, I like that scene.
Yeah.
I really like that scene.
Yeah, and so that, I mean, that was one of those things where, for me, I guess, the losers, the aspect of, Memorial Day, remembering, soldiers that are fallen, like that whole concept, like, is something that, for me, it triggered an emotional beat. And I like that, Clark as a father was sharing that with his son, and that it was just, they were having their own, I suppose, I guess you'd call it like a wartime experience, because they're in the middle of this dinosaur island fending off enemies from all sides and all this other stuff. And then it, they find out, oh wait, Captain Storm's still alive, and they go on and kind of have their own little adventure with him, right? And so, the second part of it, obviously I didn't include in it, but I kind of told you, like, oh, if you want to find out kind of what happens after they get to the cave and see the message, right, then this is what happens afterwards, which, maybe it's not like the greatest second part in the world or whatever, but that first part and that beat that it ends on, like, that's, I mean, I don't know what to tell you other than that's what I liked. I like the relationship between the father and the son, and that they encounter that, that kind of memorable, kind of inscription in stone from the New Frontier. And I think maybe to me, like, maybe, if not anything was, how should I say, if anything was the most memorable to me from the New Frontier, it's when they had Johnny Cloud like dive into the mouth of a T-Rex with a grenade. You know what I mean? Like, and you're like sitting there going, oh, and so ends the losers. And you're just like sitting there thinking to yourself, dude, like this is, I don't know, to me, like I guess stuff like that speaks to me more than, I don't know, then maybe it might speak to other people. So, and maybe that's why, it doesn't, like you said, art impacts people in different ways. Right. So, yeah, for sure.
What wasn't that right around when Darwin Cook passed away as well?
Yes. I think it was supposed to be like a tribute to him, posthumously or whatever too. So so if you add the context of that too,
it's touching.
Carl makes a good point, right? That was supposed to be, kind of like a homage, giving respect to, a creator we had lost.
Right. Yeah. See, that was lost on me, obviously, because I had read, I read the New Frontier, several years ago. So I wouldn't have been thinking about that, honestly. I don't remember anything about it, other than, the imagery of it. But I did want to point out that Tom says something cool. And it didn't make me think, oh, yeah, that's awesome. But it was a nice little beat, like you like to say, Derek. Here we go. Captain Storm, when he learns that the U.S. won World War II, and he wasn't aware because he was like lost in the jungle or whatever. Right. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
So I said, oh, that was kind of neat, Tom says, basically the losers aspect of the story is what made the story great. I liked reading the losers comics. I'd never read losers comics actually myself. So, Steel Guns. That was actually a good story also. Look at that. We have another fan. Brian liked that story. Okay. Look at that. What's up? Another name change. Look at that. You've become Nosmusk 3311. Poor YouTube, man. They really screwed us all over. What's up, Comson? Sorry, Comson, but you are now Nosmusk 3311.
I mean, people could change it if they want to. They just have to find something that YouTube will let them change it to, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I hope there's enough. Just they hear that there's enough complaints that they kind of just go back and redo whatever, put it back to how it was. Hey, what's good, DJ? What's up? What's up? No, but this is something that YouTube did, man. That's something that YouTube did. That's why a bunch of us have weird looking names now. So maybe they'll change it back on their own soon enough when they get enough complaints. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. So from there, I got a few more I want to bring up, guys. Let me get this one off here. And let me put the next one up. I read this one. All right. So I know there's not many of you guys that have been reading this. I think I can think of 2 or 3 of you, including, I think Carl has been reading it. Yep.
Yep. I'm current. Yep.
I know, Marcus, you've been reading it. I don't. Derek, you have not been reading this, right?
Nope.
Okay. So there's not much I want to say other than, okay, so it's a 6-issue series. Word has it that there's going to be another one maybe after. I don't know. This is the 5th, so it's the penultimate issue. The first 4 series I quite enjoyed. But as I had said when we talked about this during the last Hangout episode, it is pretty formulaic. It's very much Walking Dead, kind of same sort of story as Walking Dead. But I enjoyed it regardless. I gotta say though, that's the first 4 issues. But then this one came out. This one came out last week? I think it was last week or the week before, maybe 10 days ago, something like that. Not this past Tuesday, the one before that. So at the end of issue 4, I felt it was a pretty, a fun, typical sort of Walking Dead-esque cliffhanger where the protagonists are on the march and they're trying to get away and, they run into somebody scary at the end of the issue. And the guy you see on the cover here, that's the scary person they run into. They don't know if he's friend or foe. All right. And so they put him on the cover for issue 5. And so I was looking forward to it. I was like, I can't wait to see who this guy is. Who's this guy going to be? And I don't know. Carl, first of all, let me ask you, have you read it yet?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Marcus, I'm sure you read it. So I just want to say, I don't know what you guys felt, but to me, this was the first issue that I felt the word I come up with is disappointed. I don't know. I just felt the issue suddenly, it started going back in time. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like what I'm referring to, right? Like, I don't know. It just got boring all of a sudden. I don't know.
That's interesting. I disagree. I
Really?
actually, yeah.
I'm not shocked. I'm not
Yeah.
shocked. And I will say this. Let me say this before I let you speak.
Yeah.
I will say that since there's only 1 issue left, okay, I'm going to wait till that comes out. And when that comes out, I'm going to reread 5 again and then reread, go right into issue 6. So I'll read them both back to back. I don't know, mate, because I'm willing to concede there are times where I'm reading just because I know I've promised myself I'm going to read. I may not be too much in the mood to do it, but I'll do it anyways. And if I do it when I'm not so much in the mood, I tend to not pay as much attention. My mind's elsewhere. That could have happened. I don't think that happened in this case, but it might be. And because of that, I will reread it when number 6 comes out. I'll read them both together. But for now, I felt it was disappointing compared to the first 4 issues. But yeah, go ahead and let me know what you think. And I'll go into the chat and see what Marcus is saying about it.
Yeah, no, I actually liked. So I actually liked that they went into some of the lore of what's going on in the 5th issue. It did expand beyond the limited kind of. It's been a kind of a tight circle of characters as far as what's going on. And there's this, something happens. There's these mutations, these soldiers, and everybody's after. There's like zombies essentially that are after these people. And then in the 5th issue, you kind of learn some of the history of maybe where this plague or whatever has come from. So it's fair to say that this issue, depending on if it's only a 6-issue thing, I think it's important to have this stuff in there to kind of maybe explain what the lore is. But I didn't actually know that there was going to be potentially more. In saying that, some of this information maybe could have been saved for a second arc then, because you could have kept the story tight in 6 issues and then expanded beyond that if the plan is to expand beyond 6 issues. So, but I liked learning some of the backstory of what's going on.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's how I read it. And I actually thought some of the the formulaic nature of the story of what's happening, and then they escape, and then they go and they encounter this this lone who's this character. I thought I enjoyed it, but also quite formulaic. So I was kind of hungry for something else. It's like what else is there to this world or story and so I was happy to get that.
Yeah, and when I first talked about it on a previous episode, it was, I think, just as it had kind of come out, because I was asking all you guys that day. I remember, like, one day on one episode, I was like, oh yeah, Jeffrey Allen Love, the topic of him came up, and I was like, yeah, because I like to see those little mini commissions that he does, and I said, oh, but does anybody know if he can tell a story? And then that's right, and that's how this came up, right?
This came out, yeah.
Yeah, and so then I sought it out and I read it, and I enjoyed it. And I admitted, I think on the next week's episode, I admitted, listen, overall on the whole, I definitely enjoy it. The art is very much like his kind of commissions, and story is fun, but I admit it's definitely formulaic. There's no way you can get around. You cannot deny that. You know what I mean?
Right.
As long as you're okay with that, then I say go ahead and give it a try. It's still fun, right? But interesting, Newell, we just found out there's another reader. Newell is also a reader, and let me put it back up here. His comment. He says he thinks the whole series has been slow, which is funny because it's such a quick read, so it's hard for me to feel like it would be slow, but largely uninteresting, which is interesting to me. Issue 5, though, was interesting to him as it expanded on things a bit, but he still doesn't care about any of the characters. So it's interesting, right?
Sounds like you guys need to have a comic art hangout KO, get a tournaments. And you got the people for news from the Fallout and the people against news from the Fallout. And then you guys can just get bare chested and start, brawling.
Yeah, the thing is, like, what Ruben is saying is fair. What Newell's saying is fair. I think it's because the interesting thing, the hook of the series is the art style. I mean, it's so different, and it's like silhouettes, and it's very graphical. Like much of the characters are all like in silhouettes. There's only a hint here and there of facial features and like some grays that are like buried in the black. So it is confusing. There's sometimes because there's like a guy with a pipe. There's a guy with glasses. There's like so you kind of it is hard to understand some of the subtleties of the characters as these character arcs go on. So
exactly.
That sometimes gets lost month to month. So I do think what Tom said as far as reading as a trade will probably be a better read, which is not surprising. That's if there's any. So for me, I like the approach in the art. It's he sticks to the style he uses on those commissions that we've all seen for the last couple of years or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. So now I can see he can tell a story. But I will say, if there's anything negative. Any negative aspect that I find of the art, the approach to his art in telling comic book stories as opposed to single drawings, right, to give to fans, is what you guys have mentioned. It's that fact where I also am like, from time to time, and not just in the 5th issue, but from issue 1 onward in every issue, there are times where I'm like, oh wait a second. Okay, who's this guy? Wait, is this that guy or is that the other guy? Right, because something crazy happens at a military base, and like one guy escapes, and he escapes to this bar, or no, not a bar, a diner, and there's all these patrons of the diner that are there, and you get some backstories of those characters who are like the cook, the waitress, the guy who's like sitting at the counter, and you lose like, wait, which one's the soldier? Which one's the guy that came from the base again? Like what?
Yeah.
So I lost that, and the one character I can't wrap my head around it because it always looks kind of silly. Is the waitress like the way her like she
That
has
crazy hairdo.
right. So it's just like a silhouette of like a hair bun that's like back here. So it always just looks her head just I don't know. It just looks weird to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's it. So Marcus says you're trying to find the voice to the characters without seeing their faces.
right.
Yeah, really without seeing anything, right? Because it's kind of like these just big black shapes, really, and like you say, Carl, you're kind of looking for like that telltale sign of recognition. Oh, the pipe guy. That's the guy with the pipe in his mouth, right?
But then I have to go back and because they have flashbacks of like
yes, yeah.
What was his? He's at the so that gets me. So it'll be much easier to have the trade there and flip back. Like, what the hell? What was his backstory? Like, who was this guy? So I think it's a good. I think it's a really good experiment. I think I don't know how well this would work on like repeated stories. You know, like I don't know.
I find
it's interesting.
Yes, it's a very interesting. To me, it's an experiment to do storytelling in silhouettes, essentially, right? It's a very nice experiment. However, because it makes it quite difficult at times to know who's who without, let me flip back a couple of pages. Let me try to figure that, I feel I would get annoyed if that continued, if there was no way to clarify who I'm looking at all times, I would find it annoying. So I don't know that in this style, I would want to continue to see, another series and then another one and then another one,
And this is his first, right? This is his first series.
As far as I know,
I'm pretty sure. Like I know we talked about that when you mentioned, like I'd love to see what he could do. I'm pretty sure this is his first series, and I imagine that the feedback that we're giving is some of the feedback that he's getting. And if there were to be another series, there might be maybe a little more within the silhouettes, or maybe not. Maybe he's like, no, this is my style. So if it works, it works for you. Great. If it doesn't, whatever.
Exactly. And I just want to say to all you guys in the chat, stow it, Alice. I used to love that show. So No Faces trying to win an Inkwell Award. Nice. So thank you for your feedback on this. That's nice. Marcus, you didn't tell us though. I'm just curious from you, Marcus. What did you think about issue 5? Did you feel it was just as good? Did you feel it kind of went down a bit, or kind of just sideways? Did you feel it's same as the other issues? What did you feel? I'm curious about that. And while I remove the scan here of this one and I wait for your response, I'll see what else I have. I think I got a couple other things that I read and want to talk about. Oh, waiting for issue 6 to make up my mind. Okay, interesting. But that means you still have thoughts. You've got thoughts, right? But you're not sure as to whether you're like, it's one of those like, am I liking this or am I getting annoyed by it right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those kind of things, and so which I would understand. There you go. Okay, so I'm the same boat as you. Yeah, all right. So that's good. I agree. Yeah, you're basically saying the same thing too, right? Like, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens with issue 6. It's so bizarre to me to think it's going to be over in one issue, right? Like just more. I felt the same. I told you guys when I first brought this up after reading the first issue. Yeah. I remember, Carl. I was like, it's fun, it's good, but like, I read the first 2. I'm like, how the hell we're already 1/3 of the way through, and literally it hasn't even gotten started, really, if you think about it, right?
And so the guy arrives at the diner at the end of the first issue. I think like the second, third, and fourth, most of the fourth like happens inside the diner, most of it for them. And it's like I think there was a lot of high drama going on back and forth between those characters, but like some of it was lost on me because of the lack of like facial features and who the hell's who. So, but I like it. That's this crazy thing. It's like I'm enjoying it.
No, I'm still enjoying it. Yeah. And I still am like wanting to get that 6th issue to see what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Marcus, you're in for 5. You must get 6. Well, yeah, but 6 hasn't come out yet. So, So we'll see. Look, Marcus asked me earlier but are you willing to try another 6 issues or whatever? If there's another one, I said yes. I'm still that's me right now, but we'll see. I could change my mind if number 6 comes out and it, for me in my mind, goes off the cliff, then I'll be like, what? I think I've had enough, So we'll see. Yeah, I'm anxious to see 6 just to see, because that'll kind of tell me where I am with this whole experiment.
I might get them and just wait to read them. If there's another 6, I might just wait and read them all at once because of the challenges. Unless there's certain changes, like if there's some responds to some of the feedback. So
sometimes I do that on purpose. Like I'll wait until a series is finished. Like I know, Carl, you were often recommending the Dark Patterns, and I took note of that, but I haven't read it yet because I know you said they're like little 3 issue, but I was just kind of like, oh, maybe I'll wait until it's all like wrapped up and sit down and just read it. And sometimes I feel like the way things are written today, it's more. It's the experience it's written for that. It's more enjoyable when you do it that way instead of trying to do the weekly warrior comic thing and do it installment by installment. Then that can get a little tedious maybe as a reading experience. And so maybe you're just trying to get rid of that tedium and just let me read the story.
That changes it, and when you absorb it all at once, you view it differently because like, oh, that was a fun quick read, and I think like news from the Fallout is going to be a thing. Like, oh, you want to see something interesting? Here, check this out, and then you'll read it and be like, oh, that was interesting. Now we're sitting.
Oh,
that month.
Second time.
It changes the it just changes the experience. So, but Dark Patterns. I would say wait, because when it first started, I thought it was just like 3, like and it is, but there is a like
like an
line,
overarching through line
which
for all the.
Was not it's not something I knew or picked up on.
I didn't pick up on it either. That means it must be really, really sort of tiny, kind of like a really
it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's tiny, and then the last case it kind of like, oh, okay, so it which wraps it. You kind of see what the through line is.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it very much, and sorry we didn't plan to talk about this one, so I don't have any covers to show you guys. But I read up to the 9th issue and really enjoyed it. So the first 3 stories are great. I find a lot of fun, fantastic artwork, like outstanding graphic art, like in particular the panel construction. That I specifically chose those words because it's how he literally constructs the panels. They're like, there's a series of panels overlapping each other, but they're like 3-dimensional, almost like 3 doorways into space or something. Like, you have to check this out, but it's wild, man. So good, outstanding, like way out of this world. On a previous episode, I talked about that, and somebody mentioned, and maybe I was the first to mention it. I can't remember, but J.H. Williams, in terms of graphic representation, how he draws panels and stuff, his panel arrangements, came up, and I said, yeah, kind of like that, but still different. It's not like he's trying to copy J.H. Williams. It's unique. It's really outstanding, like really inventive, really inventive panel construction. Just amazing. So just for the art alone, the panel construction, because you may not like the style. Some people may think, the style seems kind of simplistic or whatever, the line art itself. I don't know. I'm sure it has fans and some people who are not fans, but just for the panel construction and page design, out of this world, so worth it just for that. But because they're only 3-issue stories, I am not going to read. I'm anxious, but I'm not going to read. The number 10 came out, and I didn't want to read it because I was like, nah, I just want to wait till the last 2 issues come out.
Yeah.
Boom. Yeah, let me just read the whole story. Otherwise, I forget details. You know, my mind's just in one ear out the other, and yeah.
But it's kept my interest the whole time. And in a crowded field of high profile Batman projects, like that's the one I would recommend to anybody.
Yeah, that gets tough too, right? Because it seems like every other week there's a new Batman project that's a must read that everybody has to buy, right? Like,
it definitely got lost in the early
shuffle,
on,
right?
because there was Hush 2, Absolute Batman,
the ongoing Batman,
right,
all this kind of stuff, right? Like,
so that's, and randomly I was like, I happened to pick it up in the store. I was like,
Second Night, you know, like all those things, right? Like they were all coming out, and you're like, oh, these are all must read. You know, it's like, well, but I bet that's probably like the sad story of being a Batman fan, right? Like it gets to that point where it gets oversaturated, and you're like, you know, I laugh because I went to this one shop, and it's like they had their new DC comics and their new Marvel comics, but then they had two different shelves that were separate from both those, which was an entire shelf of Batman shit and an entire shelf of X shit, you know? And I was just like, oh man, like that's crazy. And it's not like it was all the same stuff. It was like, you're sitting there going, no, these are all different new books, you know?
And it's like, that's the thing about Batman is like, it's just, you could apply them to any, like plug them in any situation or whatever style. You can do that. But Dark Patterns is the one that if you like the classic kind of detective Batman, that's the one I would hand to people looking for that.
I mean, it definitely, when you pitched it that way, it definitely sounded intriguing to me. That's why I kind of like
filed it away.
I don't have a written list, but I probably have like some notepad or something like that where I'm like, okay, let me jot certain things down so I don't forget for later and maybe come back to it or whatever. And that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they deliberately waited. So I thought they'd maybe do like a split trade, like a 6 and 6 kind of thing.
Oh,
but
okay.
they're waiting until I think it's like March or something like that to do all 12 issues in a single volume. So.
Oh, did they talk about the single volume already?
No, I think there's a date for it. I think it's like I think it's March.
I mean, I guess there's only 3 issues left.
But I also think it's a trade. I don't think it's a hardcover, which I mean, not some don't care, but I like.
Yeah,
I'm much rather hardcover collecting, but
I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. I mean, I'm with the program, man. I'm in the 21st century
digital.
With digital. Come on, like
come on.
I'm like you guys, you know, still stuck with your trade paperback hardcover thing, you know. You guys that can't adapt to the future and shit like I do always.
Yeah.
I'm the leader in the, you know, always being ahead of the game, right?
Hey, in case I forget you mentioning that, can you text that to me?
Text what?
Saying that. Read it
I'll
digitally. You should text it on your phone. You should text me about staying current with digital.
What was your number again? What was your number again?
March 31st. Is the trade comes out.
Oh, March 31st.
Yeah.
Do they file a copyright claim on YouTube if Marcus is always singing in the chat? Like, is that how that works too?
Does that catch the algorithm, like in the transcript of the lyrics being published?
Well, I explained
because that's how I read it. Like I read it, you know, being sung, right? So
yeah.
I explained earlier, you know, that like I was doing a little singing, I guess before you came in, and somebody mentioned, you know, it was awful or whatever. I was like, you know, obviously. But I go, you know, the nice thing is that on my channel, I'm assuming it's, you know, it's an assumption. I think it's a well-educated guess though. The reason I can get away with saying all these words that all these other YouTubers can't say, right? Normal everyday words, you know, rape, murder, kill, whatever, you know, all these other YouTubers are like, oh, like
unalive stroke,
be unalive them or whatever, you know, that's stupid nonsense. And I guess it's YouTube's way of like, oh, if we put all these conditions on these YouTubers that are monetized, every time they do that stuff, they say those things, we can give them a strike or whatever, and we don't have to pay them. I think that's why they do it. My assumption is that the reason why people on my channel constantly swear and say all those words, you know, sung many times, whatever. And the algorithm is supposed to catch apparently it's good enough to catch people just singing a popular melody, right? A well-known melody. It's supposed to be able to catch it, but I've never had any problem at all with anything. So my educated guess is I'm not monetized, and I think that they just program the algorithm to nail people if they're already monetized.
They don't have to worry about advertisers being attached to a video
Right,
talking
right.
about questionable content.
Right.
But, you know,
Right. That's what I think.
Or you have to be like on tune for them to catch it.
Yeah. Or it has. Yeah,
Oh, that might be it too, though. You know.
just stuck that badly in the algorithm.
But Derek, in my defense, they also haven't nailed me for any of those words I'm not supposed to say. So I'd like to think it's pretty recognizable. Oh, say, can you see? Come on, you knew what I was thinking of. But okay, so let me get to the next three. So the next, I got three more to do. I don't think there's going to be much to talk about because I don't think these are things that got a lot of what's the literary version of airplay? A lot of reading. Yeah, I don't know.
A lot of buzz.
Buzz?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're well-known things. But I think with my audience in particular, maybe not so much. We get a lot of Marvel guys and DC kind of thing, but we'll see. We'll find out. Let's get digital. Nice. So let me let's put us here again. And yeah, so these next three are okay. So we're going to start with this one. And so this next one, I'm going to show you the cover. There's a couple of covers in case some of you are only familiar with one, not the other. This next one, I'd never heard of it. And the only reason I gave it a shot was for the hell of it because Tom in the chat, Tom Derrick, mentioned it in one of the shows that I guess probably another Hangout episode. And I was like, okay, I took note of it and I figured, okay, I'll give it a try sometime. Here it is.
Pressure's on, Tom.
All right. So Spectators. And when he said that, I was like, well, Spectator, what the hell is that? He said, oh, yeah, Brian K. Vaughan. I was like, oh, okay. You mean like the guy from Saga? I'm like, yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Here's another one. Here's the other cover. All right. Okay. So I want to see what Tom. Let me get back into the Jeff. What's happening, Jeff? I'm so sorry for your. I know you're not a baseball fan, anyways. Really, I'm sorry for your Blue Jays, but go Dodgers, baby! Woo!
My dad's a Dodgers fan, so he was very happy. So I was.
There you go. You go. I'll get an accumulated bill later on. Yeah, exactly. I am small time indeed. That's why, Tom, I try to keep it small time. That's why every time you say, hey, you try to get people to subscribe, I'm always like, no, don't. The quicker I stay away from that 1,000 level, the longer I stay away from it, right? The better I think it's going to be for me. Those people are there for a career to get clicks and monetization, right? And that's why hate videos are so popular, right? I think they go after the YouTubers who take in any money as part of their web shows, right? Oh boy, Tom is
He's scared.
Tom is scared.
Shit, he read it.
Oh
no.
Okay.
Now you're gonna get an earful, Tom.
Noel says, I bought Spectators in Baltimore, but haven't had a chance. Oh, it's too bad. I'd like to know what you thought. Ruben read it. I did. Very strange, but a fun read. Okay. I opened to a random page to show Carl and saw some penetration. Carl was satisfied. Okay. Of course he was. Okay. All right. I guess the quickest way, there's not much to say about it, to be honest, Tom and everybody else. And I literally only read it just to, because it was Brian K. Vaughan and he did Saga. I liked Saga. So that's it. And because Tom said it was good. Okay, fine. So overall, I wished I didn't waste my time. Okay. Let me put it this way. So it started off pretty interesting. I was liking it at the beginning. Okay. And I didn't know how long it was. I was reading it digitally and the pages were not numbered. So I had no idea how many pages it was going to be, but I was expecting, I don't know, like hopefully around 200 or so. And maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It felt like it was 500. But what I can say is it started pretty fun, but very quickly I found got super boring and pointless, and I was struggling to get through it. So just for anybody curious, all right, what this is about, as you can see right there, okay, those two people there, they're ghosts, all right? They died at different points in time in history. Good night, honey. And they're at that guy, the cowboy. I think he's Native American, but anyways, he's dressed like a cowboy. They're in his former apartment, okay, where he used to live when he was alive. And the people they're watching, they're floating there because, like I said, that's their souls, I guess, right? They're ghosts. They're watching the current couple who lives in his former apartment going at it. All right, they're like wild, these two. They're always having sex left and right, you know. But here's the thing. Here's what I didn't like about it is that when it starts, I'll tell you in private. I don't got time to get into that, Jeff. But I can tell you actually for DC, if you pay in advance, it's $120 for the year. But if you want to pay month to month, it's $13 a month. Okay. Spectators much better than Cancor. Never read Cancor. Cancor is years ago. It's all about sweet sepulcher, and I don't know what that is. Wow. Okay. No wonder it felt like 500. Thank you, Stingray. Wow. 344. Yeah, it definitely felt a long one, you know. Why do they like to watch the sexy time? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. Very adult book for sure. Yeah. So the way it starts off is that woman there, okay, she actually looks like a girl. That's the first thing is that I was like, she looked like somebody who was in her 20s. I thought she was like 23 or something. And then she reveals very early on, she says, oh, I just turned 43, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, 43? I'm like, what? No, man, no. The face, the figure, no. It's very, very young, early 20s or even late 20s at most, you know. So that was kind of weird about the art. I was like, yeah, that's not a 43-year-old, but whatever. It doesn't matter to the story. So the story starts off. She's in a movie theater. She's like me. I could relate to her because she loves to sit at the back row, right at the top, high up, the highest row, center. That way, nobody's behind her, right? Making noise behind. I love that. So she's watching and she's waiting for some guy who is supposed to show up to watch the movie with her. He screws her over, whatever, tells her, nah, sorry, I screwed up. I can't make it tonight. I'm working, whatever. Okay. So she's waiting for the movie to begin. She's on her phone. She figures, okay, I'll kill time by watching, what do you call it? The Pornhub. She starts watching Pornhub. I'm like, okay, this is cool because, you know, typically it's a guy character who'd be doing that, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. It's what I thought was a young woman at the time, not 43. I thought she was 23. Yeah, she's like looking at porn to kill the time or whatever on her phone. And then all of a sudden, some crazy nut comes into the theater and he starts, it's not a full theater. There's probably, I don't know, 10, 15 people at most in the theater. And this nut job comes in and he starts killing people with an assault rifle, right? He kills everybody in the theater, basically, saves her for last, but he still kills her. So that's when you see her leave her body. So now we see that she's a ghost, right? So she leaves the theater, right? She goes out and she's floating up in the sky, right? And she runs into another ghost, right? A naked woman, right? A good-looking naked woman. And I don't know why she's naked even as a ghost. Maybe because that's how you died. If you die that way, that's how you are forever. I don't know, right? And so she talks to her for a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is still okay. But then not too long after, she runs into this guy who's a ghost. And they team up, right? And basically the gist of the rest of the story, probably 300 pages to go, right? He tells her that again, they meet, they go to his apartment, and he tells her like, yeah, look at this couple that lives in my former apartment, and they're always going at it, having sex, blah blah blah, whatever. And then he tells her something to the effect of like, I never saw a threesome. I'd like to see a threesome, whatever. And so they go on this quest to find people having sex, but always they're looking for a threesome to watch so they can watch, because he always wanted to watch a threesome or something like that, you know?
It's important to have goals.
Tom, I'd like to see you come on and explain it.
I mean,
that's all this was about.
So the ghosts are voyeurs. That's what.
Yeah, they're like voyeurs. Exactly.
So they're watching a live version of Pornhub.
Yeah, exactly. So like when they go,
it's like
when they
go one step better than live streaming.
yeah. What's up, Lee?
Hey, Lee.
So that's basically it. That's how to sum it up, is that they spend the rest of the long, very long story, very boring, floating around, looking at this guy's old apartment, seeing this other couple who lives there now having sex, and then they go to other places looking for, like they go to some place and there's this whole orgy going on, and she's like, oh yeah, look at this, a whole ton of people here having sex or whatever. But he's like, yeah, but it's all couples. Everybody's coupled up. There's no threesome here. So again, they got to go somewhere to look for the threesome. It's like, ultimately, the whole thing was just about that. It was so boring. Like, I just kept thinking, what's the point to this? I can't believe this writer, he gets so much attention, like how great he is. It's like, okay, I like Saga, but I don't know about anything else that I don't know if I'd ever want to try anything else he's ever done, because this was flat out garbage to me. Like, this was shit. The art was nice. I like the art. I enjoyed the art. I'll say that. I forget who did the art. Niko Henrichon. Yeah, that's the guy that got famous about, I don't know, 20 years ago for doing that Lion King-ish type comic. I forget what it was called. Oh, Pride of the something, or something of the Pride. It was like an indie thing. It was a graphic, OGN, original graphic novel. Pride something. I don't know. Somebody will probably mentioning it. But he did that in a very animated style. This is more sketchy, but very nice. So anyways, whatever. Yeah, the bottom line, Tom, you said it was good. This stuff.
There's a Marcus comment that just came in. That's like,
whoever recommends this is a free.
No, the one
The
at
next one.
717.
Okay, hold on. Oh, and the cowboy guy died back in the 1880s and was like 80 years old. Yeah, okay, but it doesn't even really affect the story, though, Tom.
Tom is saying that
50 years go by during the story, over 150 years go by.
I think Tom is saying that the ghosts look like they did when they were younger, so it's not necessarily
like
where they died.
Yeah, I guess if Jonah Hex was a ghost, he wouldn't look, bald and I don't know, 90 years old. He'd look like he looks in his prime, right?
So that's why the woman doesn't look like she's 43, because she looks like her version of a younger self.
Yeah, he's right about the whole thing. Like, because you start going into the future. Like, you could see the surroundings that they're in are like more futuristic cities or whatever. But
Wait
again, but
not a single threesome happened in like centuries.
No, they finally found it. They finally found it, right? They finally got the threesome. And, oh, look, you finally got your threesome or whatever. But like, who cares? Like, why is this a reason to make a comic book or a graphic novel of 350 pages? Like, the whole thing is pointless. I don't know. Whatever. I was struggling. By the way, I only read that just last night. Yeah. So I wish I could get those 2 hours, 3 hours back, whatever it took me. I don't know. It just, yeah. So
I mean,
whatever.
I'm sorry Tom is getting lambasted for his pick, but it makes me feel better that I didn't get your pick is garbage response in retrospect. I feel slightly better that it was just kind of like, I don't understand why you like this, as opposed to it's garbage.
No, I mean, I get from the point of view that when you think about it, I wish you guys had read it, but it really seems like a pointless reason to do a story. Like, so what? So a few ghosts, whatever, people get killed, become ghosts, they live forever as ghosts. And these two in particular literally spend the entire 300 whatever pages looking for an orgy, a threesome that this guy wants to. He never got to see one. He wants to see.
Yeah, does he know about orgies? Like, is that his next? That's the sequel. Like,
Hopefully there's no sequel. Let's leave it there, you know. And JC, yes, thank you for reminding me. I also did very, very much enjoy Why the Last Man from start to finish. I remember reading online that some people said, "Oh, I hated how it finished." I don't remember how it finished, but I remember thinking, "Yeah, that was satisfying for an ending." So I liked it start to finish. So yeah, Saga and Why the Last Man. Those are the only two things that I think I can say I've read and have liked from him. And thank you, yes, you guys. Pride of Baghdad. That's the one. The Vertigo comic. Yeah, exactly. I only like the art. I didn't really care for the story on that one. They all die at the end, right? I was still reading the book when I said it was good. Yeah, okay, but how far into it were you? That's okay. Listen, I'm just fooling around. Obviously, I'm happy that I was willing to give it a shot. You know, I like OGNs. So
Tom isn't happy that you gave it a shot.
He is. Trust me, he is.
I know.
Yes, look at Ruben's best friend, Spectators, Harrison Ford, color mats.
Now what I foresee, what I really want to happen is for someone to option Spectators for Harrison Ford to be the old fucking cowboy. And then maybe someone to gift Ruben a piece of art from this in a color mat. Like that would be like,
oh my God, that'd be classic. Oh, classic. So classic that would be. My God, that would be the best thing ever. Holy shit, man. But anyways, yeah, but you know, I appreciate it, Tom. I do. Listen, we can't always like it. Like I said, sometimes a friend will tell you something, hey, you should read this, and you end up liking it or loving it. And then that same friend will tell you about something else that they loved, and you end up hating it, right? So there's that's the thing. You got to kind of still use your own intuition as to what your gut feels, you know, whether you would like it or not. But yeah, no, it's all good. I'm glad I tried it, you know. So
and it all depends on when you read a story, at what time, what like part of life you are. Like it all matters. Like you have different experiences with the same story, and you know.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Tom, I wouldn't go that far saying that it's worth the read. I definitely don't think it was worth my time. I will not recommend it to anybody. I'll tell you that. You know, but listen. You can keep recommending it to your friends. I mean, maybe
Tom's there like screaming at us, like, you know, whatever he's watching, like, you fucking don't get it, Ruben.
But look at that. JC's telling me I should read The Private Eye by BKV. Also fun. What do you mean also? I mean, this one wasn't fun, so you can't really say also. But I know you're talking about
He's following up on why.
Yeah. I get it. Read The Private Eye. I don't know. I'm kind of wary of reading things based on just, you know, friends' suggestions. But
he's never going to read anything we suggest ever again after this. He's going to have to do it on his own, right?
Nah, man. I'll still take you. I'll on occasion, if it sounds good to me, I'll still listen to what you have to suggest, Derek. No problem. You know, I can't say I'd read everything you tell me to read, but I'm not going to shut you off completely for sure. Like I said, I lucked out on those three, the 3-issue story, if not the other two. So that's okay, right? I have to add, Ruben doesn't own a cell phone. Thank you. They know that. You're not revealing anything they don't know. Tom will distribute copies at AOL. Vaughan's comics haven't appealed to me so far. Look at that. You see what I'm saying? He's the uber popular writer for the last 20 years, and Peter hasn't. And nothing has appealed to him so far. So you just never know. Jeff says, I think the Pornhub part didn't ring true to Ruben's experience and is the source of his disdain. It was actually pretty realistic, though. I mean, they kind of make this fake. Obviously, they didn't want to do copyright infringement. So they called it, I don't know, Cornhub or I don't know, something rhymed or whatever. But yeah, no, it was, again, artistically, it was fun. I liked it artistically, but what a shame that it was just a pretty much boring crap story, But anyways, okay, I got a couple more, guys, the last two. And no, this has been really fun, by the way. So I'm really happy you guys are hanging in with me for this. Yeah, it makes me happy to be able to at least talk about it, because then it makes me kind of like enthused to keep trying to get back more into reading stuff,
There's a lot of good stuff out there. There's a lot of, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I wish Kavi was here, because I knew that he alone for sure. I don't know how many people have read this next one. I know he did. So it's too bad he's not here. But has anybody read this one, Graffiti's Wall? It's a Rom V.
Oh,
book.
V. Okay. No, I
Yeah.
haven't read it.
Connie has some stuff from this, right? He doesn't have some.
Yeah, he's got a couple of pages.
Yeah.
You got a couple of pages. Yeah, so okay, since nobody so far has said that they've read this, I guess we'll skip this over pretty quick. I just wanted to say, Kavi, if you ever catch this on Rewind, of course I'll tell you in person anyways next time, whatever we chat. But and Mikhail, I know Mikhail read it too, but he's not here either. So Stingray, what? Graffiti's Wall is literally on the desk next to me. Oh, another victim of your pile. That's all right. That's all right. So I won't really say anything about the story. Sorry, what's that, Derek?
Oh, we have a joke. We were like, it's on the list, right?
Oh yeah, it's
on
on the
haven't
list.
gotten to it yet, right?
Yeah. But so I guess we'll say that I read it without giving details away. It does take place in India. Ram V, for those of you who don't know, great writer, Indian of Indian origin, living in the UK now though. Grew up in India though, and so he has written a few things that are sort of Indian based. In fact, for those of you who don't know, the Swamp Thing, the title actually titled The Swamp Thing. To this day, the one and only Swamp Thing book ever called The Swamp Thing. The one that he did with Mike Perkins, that one, a lot of that one took place in India as well. So, but yeah, so this one takes place in India. It focuses on 4 friends, and kind of gives each one has their own little story. He goes into the background and gives each one their own little story. And it's just the things that kind of happened to them living there in India. It's hard to make it sound fun without giving you details. But I will say I definitely recommend it as a read, and definitely, without question, 100 times better than Spectators. Okay. Maybe for those of you who are just happy enough to satisfy yourselves with like spank bank material, like if you like to look at, illustrated sex and naked people or whatever, Spectators, yeah, check it out. It's got some nice sexual stuff there if you're interested in that, if that's your thing. But story-wise, I definitely don't recommend it. But Graffiti's Wall, I would definitely recommend it. I wish I could tell you more. But it could spoil it. I don't really want to spoil it since it is really good. Don't let the whole thing about, it takes place in India, it's Indian people, I'm American, I can't relate to people in India, but don't let that scare you off. I know that's kind of like the mentality for a lot of people. It's not something I can relate to, that whole thing. But I'm not of Indian origin either. It didn't matter. I can tell you it was a very, very well written, nicely drawn comic book, original graphic novel, I should call it. So yeah, very, very highly recommended, and very happy I read it. So there you go. I'm not going to say much more than that.
Go figure. The one recommendation you liked, and Kabi's not here.
Yeah, I know.
Poor Derek and Tom. They're like,
no. Don't say poor Derek. Don't you dare say poor Derek.
Well, you had him on here to defend himself. Like, well,
no.
I was curious. I was curious how it would have went had I not been here, where he would have been like, "Well, Derek recommended this to me, but I don't know what he's found so great." Moving on to Kavi's pick and Tom's pick. Tom's was garbage. Don't know what was going on with Derek's pick.
If Tom was
Let's
here,
bring Carl on to explain himself.
No, Derek, you don't know me well enough. You forgot there would have been a few choice swear words thrown in as well.
Yeah.
Nah, man, no. But I like I said, I definitely it could have gone the other way. And again, don't forget, I didn't say I disliked or even hated the 2-parter that you thought was your favorite of the year. I just thought it was kind of like, for me, it was just a regular sort of typical, a 2-part story that I could have read, in any other title at any other time. You know what I mean?
You know how
So-
we're talking about like waiting for the trade or waiting for a story to complete, or sometimes the things that I find difficult too is I think I desperately wanted to have an example of a Tomasi Superman book in my list. And so maybe I rigged the list in that direction. But the other thing too is maybe that was the one I picked of an entire run. And if because a lot of people, they were reading that book as it was coming out and just enjoying the hell out of it, but they read all the it was like a 40-something issue run, right? So who knows, maybe if you again, maybe that's too much to ask, right? Like for somebody's time investment, but sometimes like what Carl is saying is like that context becomes king, right? It depends on when you read it, how much you read it. You only read 2 issues in isolation, and maybe that then also is like, well, you're like, well, what's the big deal? But maybe for the people that read all 40 issues and it wasn't in isolation, they're just kind of like, oh, these things are great, right? Like,
I agree. No, I agree, because just for the simple fact that the whole Jonathan Kent thing is there, and again, me not having really read comics monthly regularly for decades, right? You know what I said before, the whole thing about, there's a lot of things about the entire universe. I don't know what's going on. So many changes have happened since I was a regular monthly reader, right? So just picking up those 2 issues and seeing that this is part of the Superman era when Jonathan Kent is is not a baby. He's kind of grown up, but he's still a kid, and he's hanging around as Superboy with his dad. That alone, it took getting used to. I'm not used to that, right? Because I never really read stuff with that Superboy, it totally. That's the kind of thing that obviously it hits me in a different way, because just I'm not used to it. Whereas, like you say, had I been already reading for the last 3 years, it would all sort of seem more, tied in, and I would need more understanding of what was going on in the universe in general, or at least the Superman universe. You know what I mean? So that totally makes sense. Absolutely. The context is everything, right? So I definitely agree. Any threesomes in what? Because I know you guys are talking about the New Gods.
He's asking about Graffiti's wall, because he's being
Graffiti's
smart
wall
with you.
No threesomes, no sex. What else? Sorry, thanks. Leave glad to read it and trade. Getting New Gods looks good. When he finally sees a threesome in is it? Actually, I don't even know how to do the acronym, Marcus, because it's actually an MF.
Android.
I don't know how to do. I don't know what the acronym for the third one is, but the third one is revealed to. I thought it was a woman, and then she pulls down the pants, and she's got a schlong. So, whatever the acronym for that or the initial for that is. Yeah. So, very, very interesting. That's what that. And actually, the that was the threesome. It was that the 2 people that now live in the apartment of that cowboy guy, those 2 people got into it with this, whatever. They used to call them hermaphrodites. I don't know what they're called these days, but whatever. So there you go. Waiting for Godot. Nice. To me it is, but that's the other one I wrote. I'm not finding great books these days. That's it. But that's why you have to be willing to take chances at times, right? Which is why I decided to take a chance on your suggestion, Tom. So no problem there. You don't know unless you give it a shot, right? So that's how I see it. And exactly, Peter. Technical term is schlong. Exactly, or the medical term. Why did the cowboy live in a high-rise apartment?
That's what I was saying. I was like, wait, if he died in like the West or like the
1890s, no idea. I was so bored. I had maybe it was explained, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Whatever. It's crap. I don't care. Exactly. Yeah, Mike. I don't know. Don't ask me. Just don't read it, or maybe read it. Maybe you'll like it the way Tom likes it. I don't know. Do whatever you want. But I'm just saying I don't recommend it. If you read it, don't do it because I said anything good about it, because I didn't. All right, that's it. So let me get Graffiti's wall off here, and I got one more to kind of ask you guys about, and it's not even, I don't know how you describe this. Like it's not Marvel DC. It's not your typical what do you call it, indie thing. Let me show you, and I have a feeling maybe nobody here has even read this, or maybe not even know about it. But let me know, you guys, if anybody has read this or at least is familiar with it. Here we go. It's They Called Us Enemy by George Takei, best known as Sulu from the original Star Trek television series. So this is an original graphic novel that he didn't write it, but he told his story to these creators, Eisinger, Scott, and Becker. And he told his story to them. He wanted to get his story of his childhood, and how in World War II, when after the Japanese had bombed Pearl Harbor, and the United States government passed a what do you call it? Those things that Trump always he doesn't do anything but sign these things
executive order.
Executive orders, thank you. Yeah. So they signed an executive order telling that anybody living in the country, whether they are citizens or not, whether they are born in America or not, if they are of Japanese heritage, they had to be rounded up and they were put in internment camps. So basically, similar to what happened with the Holocaust and the Jews, except, they weren't tortured and starved and all that. But they definitely were not well treated. They were definitely treated like dirt, basically, second-class citizens. And it's a part of history a lot of Americans don't even know, because history doesn't really focus on that. Books don't really focus a lot on that part of the world of World War II. It's usually focused on the war overseas, and also, a lot of people, even in America, are not aware that for about, I think it was 4 years, they had, I think it was 13 internment camps across the United States. And everybody of Japanese origin was rounded up and shipped off to these internment camps for like four years until the war ended. And anyway, so it's George Takei. He was a little kid at the time, and it's the story of him and his family and what they went through. Story starts right before that happened, and goes through, basically goes through until the end of World War II. And then after that, of course, throughout, George Takei is basically, so he's telling the story, and it's like you see it happening, but it's interspersed with occasional images of him talking, doing a TED talk, I believe in 2017. So I guess he did a TED talk where he tells his story, right? Of They Called Us Enemy. Yeah. And then they continue going back to the actual, time at which this takes place. And then it's the story of eventually fast forwards, to decades later, how he grew up, ultimately became an actor and all that. And so, if you will, it does have the story of his life if you want, but the main focus is the time in the internment camps. And, I got to say, this came out, I believe, in either 2018 or 2019, and I always meant to read it because I really like, first of all, I like original graphic novels, but I especially like nonfiction if it's told in comic book format, And so I always put it on my, one day to read list, and I never forgot about it. And finally, this past week, I finally was like, okay, I got to get around to this finally, and I finally read it. And thumbs up, two thumbs up. It's what I expected. No surprises from it, I guess I can say. I knew that what it was going to be about, and I can only say that I really, really enjoyed it. As I said, to me, it's a part of American history that it's shameful, and ultimately, the government kind of made amends to them with apologies and financial stipends, whatever. Nothing could ever make up for what they went through, but at least they admitted to the wrongdoing, whatever, and they try to make good, So I was aware of it, but I didn't know a lot of details. And so for me, I was like, okay, this is kind of a fun way to kind of learn more about it, especially through the story of an actor who most of us know, whether we like him or not, or whether we're familiar with his work or not. But everybody knows George Takei from Star Trek. So it's fantastic. I just thought it was really a really, really great read. It's about 200 pages. I might be off by 10 or 15 pages there, plus or minus, but call it around 200. And it's really good. Yeah, really, really good. And I definitely recommend it if you like OGN. So I wish somebody here had read it. I gotta rewind. Did you guys, by the way, Derek or Carl, did you notice while I was talking, if anybody in the chat mentioned that they read it?
No, I think Newell said he's heard of it, but
yeah,
I think Lee said it was based on a play that Takei wrote, I guess, or something.
He also and they hint in that in the book that they did a play exactly. Yep. Okay, so let me see. I'll just catch up on my own here. So
that's a good one. The Assorted Crisis Events, the thing that Newell mentioned. That's a good series.
Assorted Crisis Events. So does that have anything to do with the next Crisis on Infinite Earth?
No, I mean it's a story of it's an image book. Actually, I have it. It's good. The first to trade's out. It's an anthology. So
that one. That's the one that you on your video that you That's right. Okay.
It's really good. I mean, each issue is a standalone story set within this world where it takes the idea of the big crisis event where everything time is messed up. It's all mashing together, and like what happens to the everyday citizens in those big crisis events where the timelines are altered, worlds are smashing together. But like what happens at this the first issue was a girl who was trying to get her watch fixed, and it's like she goes outside, there's just all these different things are crazy happening, and each issue is a different person dealing with a different type of dilemma in that kind of concept, where the world is like it's unstable, everything's unstable. So there's an issue where someone gets stuck in the same time loop over and over again, and the time loop is her her parents having a really nasty fight, and it's her, she has to relive that for whatever it is, like I think it's like a 60 seconds or a couple minutes, whatever it is, that she relives that for like 60 years or something like that. I forget what it was, and then she it no longer is in that loop, and then it's dealing with that after the fact. But each issue is super, super interesting. There's a
and who publishes that? Is that Image?
Image, yeah. It's Dennis Camp. I don't know how that's pronounced.
Okay.
Eric Zawadzki is the artist, and I knew nothing about it before. It's just the concept. I read a solicit of it, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, and I've liked it so far. So
okay, cool.
Some of it's very uncomfortable, and it's topical. It's pretty meaty. It can be very, very confusing as well. So like I think one of the issues I had to read over and over again to like fully like, oh my god, it's uncomfortable. I'll put it that way. So,
okay, fair enough.
But it's very, very interesting to read. So
fair enough. I know. I remember when you talked about it on your video on your channel. It sounded
It stayed.
interesting.
Yeah, I think this is what is this? The first
Is it
5 issues.
available? Is it available? Is it collected now?
Yeah. It should. Yeah, this is the first 5 issues. So,
Oh, okay.
and
Do,
then
do you know if it's available digitally?
it should be. I mean, I imagine it is.
Okay.
But it's a meaty read on some of the issues.
Okay.
There's an issue where like essentially like Earth 1 and Earth 2 are mashed together, and everything is exactly the same in each Earth except one is kind of being destroyed at a faster pace. So they're dealing with much more terrible things, and it's this idea of like, oh well, what happens when like the invading immigrant is the alternate version of you, and like, are you as welcoming or
right?
So
Yeah.
it's interesting. That single issue was probably like my favorite of the series so far.
Interesting. I like when stories kind of bring up questions that make you question yourself, and what I do in this situation, or what I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that issue was fascinating. So
yeah. If I may just quickly go back to they called us enemy, just because there's a couple of comments I wanted to address. That's okay to disagree, Peter. But I can tell you the reason I said that is because over the years, on a couple of occasions, I brought I was talking to American friends, and we were talking about World War II, different things about World War II, and I believe the conversation had to do with the Holocaust, and then I then sort of tied it into but like what about that situation on the mainland, right, on U.S. soil, which wasn't a Holocaust, of course, but where all the Japanese got interned or whatever, and the people that I was speaking to didn't know what the hell I was talking about. So again, a couple of people, whatever, not the whole world. I get it, whatever. And of course, it's going to be in some textbooks. I didn't say they're not in any textbooks, but as I understand it, for quite a long time, it's just something that in history classes or what have you, it wasn't touched upon very much, or if it was, they glossed it over.
That's what I would say. I mean, I feel like I knew about it, but the full weight of how terrible that was, I don't think was made fully aware. And maybe I just was too young and stupid to grasp. Like, oh my god, that is. That's such an
I tend to side with Peter. I mean, I was taught about it in class. I read about it. I knew about it, but it's not like you showing me this graphic novel. All of a sudden, I went, "What? That happened?" That is not my response to that, right? But maybe, maybe just kind of trying to play peacemaker. I mean, the graphic novel probably gives you a more personalized account of events, right, than maybe a textbook would, right? And so maybe there's that aspect. But I mean, and I think maybe I don't disagree with Peter either, right? Like, I mean, making a 1-for-1 comparison, that may kind of close the conversation on that, because and of course it's a sensitive topic, but I mean, they are two different things that happened, and both of them were not good, but trying to equate one to the other is probably not going to make anybody happy in the scenario or the discussion, right?
Yeah, for sure. I disagree with shameful places. I did calling these shameful places concentration camps, equating them with the Holocaust, which I didn't do. I said it was not that. Right. And I used the word internment camp as well. So hopefully you understand that I did not say that. Let me see. Did I miss you missed her. We all did. You just reminded me of her, Scott. Another no-show. Once again. I apologize. The art is so good. In what?
In Assorted Crisis Events.
Oh, okay. Sorry, remind me who the artist is?
Eric Zawadzki. And a big part of it also is the coloring by Jordi Belair. Like, she does amazing coloring. I mean, she's coloring the the GI Joe, like the Tom Riley art in GI Joe, which I really like. But yeah, it's a very distinctive coloring style, and it adds a lot to the look of the book.
Okay. Once again, just referring back to the internment situation, Marcus says it's like Trail of Tears. You don't grasp it as a kid in school, right? And it depends on when in school, like what age you were when these certain parts of history were taught to you. You know, sometimes I've heard of situations where things that people learned in like grade 10, let's say, right? What's that in America? That's a sophomore. Would that be a sophomore? Right in high school. I've literally heard people say, "Oh, we were told about that. I remember that it was like in grade 5 or grade 6, like in elementary school." So it's weird. I don't know why they do that, but yeah, definitely certain things that are tragic type things and part of history. I would say that obviously the older you are when it's first brought to your attention, you're more likely to remember it and it sticks with you. Whereas if it's in your younger years, it's just, it kind of goes over your head. So I totally get that, Marcus, for sure. Oh, and by the way, Lee, just let me know, Lee, your friend who did that he made the documentary, First to Go, Story of the Kataoka Family, and won some awards. Where can I see it? Where is it visible from? Where can you find that to be seen? Let me know. Let me see. And look at this, Mickey. You see, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying, Peter. Never heard about it until very late in life. You see, I'm telling you, I never said that no Americans even know about this. I never said that, right? I'm just saying I've known a few that said, "Oh, what?" Like they're completely oblivious to it. Mickey's admitting he only found out later in life. So yeah. I guess it depends where you went to school, what parts of the country, I'm sure.
It also probably matters when this was being taught. The closer to when it happened, the less likely they're going to want to talk about it.
Right.
So the further you get away from it, it's easier to talk about it in a historical context, and it's not so fresh. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's why there's some similarities to the whole Holocaust thing. Nowhere near as bad, obviously. But yeah, Lee, that's the thing, is that when they were rounded up, they were expected to leave everything behind. Whatever they could carry with them is all they could take. The homes they were leaving, if they owned their home, that was it. The country, the government, the American government kept their home and whatever the belongings inside the home that they couldn't carry with them. Yeah, they just took it all. So they were not just rounded up and put into these internment camps, but they had their lives stolen from them, financially and like literally, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it was crazy. So Mickey says, yeah, not in the history books that I had in school. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why it depends where you went to school. Yeah. America's concentration camp, documentary column. Okay. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that, though. Always liked your knowledge base, especially on World War II stuff. So Miles Matsuno. Okay, what does that mean? I asked for where can I see the thing. There are ruins of 2 of these near my hometown. Wow. Interesting. They still have that. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But okay, so that's it for that, everybody. Let me see if there's anything. Oh, I wanted I did want to talk a little bit about some stuff that I had seen. It'll be quick because I'm pretty sure most of you probably haven't seen this stuff. So I'm just going to let you know.
Sorry, real quick. Sorry. Is this beyond comics, or is this because I have a question. Okay, so I have a question for Derek, real quick.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Let's stick with the comics until you're done.
Yeah. I've been dying to know, like, what now that like the Danny Warren Johnson's Transformers run has ended. What you thought about that? I know you weren't like super high on it at first, or because
I didn't really read the whole thing. I mean, okay. I read it up to a point, and then a buddy of mine was reviewing advanced copies and stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah.
It's not really my thing, but I did check out the Kirkman issue because I was curious what direction it was going to go in. I think most of the stuff that came out from Henrichon, I sampled, I tried. I think the only Skybound stuff I'm still consistently reading is Void Rivals and Larry Hama's ongoing G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
So I stuck with
That makes
those,
sense.
and then some of the other stuff kind of like fell by the wayside or whatever. But yeah, I mean that's
That's cool. Yeah.
it is what it is. I mean, I know some people like yourself, like you're super keen on it and stuff, and
but I wasn't. I wasn't super into like the original, like Marvel run of Transformers.
Yeah,
It's always been a property that I've enjoyed and liked, but I'm not tied to like that version of the comics. So I just was curious if there was if you stuck with it or if the opinion changed at all. But
you want to know what I have to say about Transformers?
Have you stayed up with it, or have you?
Yeah, I caught up. I'm up to 25. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I apologize.
Yeah. No worries. No worries.
As well. Yeah.
Look, I have not much to say, only because, like, as I've mentioned in the past, I was never like you guys who was like in the 80s, like a hardcore guy who fell in love with it, right? I was already like, when it came out, I was 14. So I was like, I don't know if I want to read this, but I like the visuals of the robot, right? So I read the first issue, second, third issue, I think. It's Spidey. I think it was the first 3 issue. Maybe I bought the fourth. I can't remember. And it was okay. It's all right, right? But then I stopped. I think I picked up an issue here and there, like in the teens, and then like again in the 20s and 30s. Like I was kind of in and out, The thing about it for me, and before just Transformers in general, okay, just because you kind of have to know this about me and my relationship with Transformers, so you understand where my views on current Transformers comics would come from, right?
Yeah.
I was never able to really fall in love with it the way you guys did, because it might sound crazy to you, because to you guys didn't experience the same thing I did, but like even to this day, I can tell you what's frustrating to me is I'll be reading, and from one page to the next, I'll be like, remember what we were talking about with news from the Fallout? Who's who? Wait a second. Is this guy, that guy, whatever? Right? I always felt the same way with Transformers. I, to this day, cannot look at them and be like, oh yeah, Starscream, or oh, okay, no, that's not true. Starscream, I know. There's a few that I can identify immediately, but a lot of them I can't. And so I will be like having to rewind the pages, like, oh, who's this? Oh, right, yeah. Because there's like Starscream, but then there's also another guy with jet power or whatever. Like he turns into a jet.
There's like tons of them.
Yeah,
all like a series of jets. Because it was the toy mold. I mean, they needed to have like multiple.
It was the toy.
Yeah.
It's like Derek, right? He loves RC, and like in the new series, I'm reading it, right, and I'm like, yeah, okay, RC, okay, cool. And then all of a sudden we switch over. We switch over, and like they're on. I think they're back on Cybertron.
Yeah, Cybertron, and Alita One's there, and Ruby's like, "Who the fuck is Alita One?"
No, it's not that I said there's another pink one. I was like thinking it's RC. So I'm like, right? I think I'm like looking visually, and I see the pink. I'm like, okay, RC. And then I'm like, I keep reading. I'm like, what the? Wait a second. What the fuck's going on? Something's not right here. And then I'm like, wait, she doesn't look. Something, who is this? I'm like, that's not RC. What the hell? Right? And so that has always happened. And that's really the reason I could never like fall in love with the franchise as an IP, I always wanted to. And that's why I decided, okay, I'll give these new series a try, right? Because I heard so many good things from you guys, and you and Marcus, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it a try. It's a whole new start from scratch type thing, whatever. But so because of that, I will tell you, I can't love this stuff. I can't love the stories, okay, like you guys do. I can't, because the frustration of always having to try to keep track. Okay, who's who again? Who is it? Oh, this is it. Okay, right. I know who. I can follow along now. I'm good. I'm straight. Right. The frustration of always having to do that, it takes away a lot of the enjoyment. All right, of being able to just flow through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I always hear that, like, the certain people who like don't have that same connection and how difficult it is to like differentiate who they are. I was like, I don't understand that. How do you not get it? But I get it. Like, it's
That's always the thing, though, depending on someone's age, right? Like I've had plenty of friends in the podcasting community where they, there's certain, stop points where, they were too old to get into Transformers. So to them, I mean, they just look like a bunch of boxes, and that's all they see. And so it's like, if you didn't have that kind of, you didn't grow up with the comic or the cartoon or the toys or whatever, and you didn't sort of, have the file cards and follow the whole thing, it's a disconnect because it's just this sea of, and maybe the Marvel comic doesn't help, right? Because a lot of these things were colored kind of unceremoniously, right? Like sometimes, it'd be just a shade of yellow, like all the boxes, and you're like, well, who's who, right?
No, but let me say something to that point, Derek. I don't think, like, I think the color definitely helps, because without color, I wouldn't even bother. But it's not even the color hurts when they color the Transformers that look like each other. They color them also similarly as well, and that to me hurts. But also, I think it's more that I find there's always are they in pairs? Like, it always feels like there's two that look alike, and then there's another two that look like each other, and another two that look like each other.
That's the trick, right? They want to sell you two toys and the cost of one mold. That's the whole business model. They want to do that ad infinitum. That's why you got Run Amok and Runabout, and they look the same. Right?
And you get characters that are like
jets, right?
Characters that are like all painted in the same color because they combine to make one giant character.
You know what it's like? It's the same thing. Like I get it, right? If all the Ninja Turtles are in a comic and it's in black and white, and none of them have their masks on.
Oh no.
And you're like, how do I know which turtle is which? When I read black and white Judge Dredd comics for the first time, and I was borrowing copies from one of my buddies, and I was first reading Judge Dredd, there was this moment where an unnamed judge walks down the hall, and I think Judge Death blows a hole in his head. And for a minute, I was like, oh my God, is Judge Dredd dead? And then I just realized, oh wait, he's just some random, he's Judge Anderson or somebody. He's not like Judge Dredd. But when I was looking at it, I couldn't tell the difference between a regular judge and Judge Dredd. So I understand there's going to be that disconnect for some people when they're reading stories that they just don't have the context for.
We just have the conditioning at the time of being fed the cartoon, fed the toys, we're primed to have all that.
Yeah,
that baseline information.
I will say, with the cartoon, I was not a viewer. I'd maybe seen a few episodes, but that's it. Again, I felt I was too old. I was like, I tune in. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Oh, it's cool, whatever. But I also would get confused. I'm like, oh, there's so many robots. Oh my God, who's who, whatever. And then I don't know, it just wouldn't grab me and pull me in.
Kill them all, and they bring a whole new set of toys in, and you're screwed.
And also it's the names. I always find a difficulty associating the name with the character, with the robot. And there's another thing that I always found it difficult to know who's who, is that in a lot of comics, right? Like in a typical a Transformers comic, you will often have an issues, right, where the character may be seen in one form, but in the whole issue, not in the transformed form. In the following issue, you'll see that person in the transformed form, but not as the robot. You understand? So that confuses the hell out of me.
Can I ask, did this new series alleviate any of those problems for you at all? Okay.
No, that's why I wanted to preface it by saying, so you guys understand this. Having said that, feel the same similar ways I remember feeling reading the Transformers comics at Marvel back in the 80s, which was I enjoyed it, but I was fully aware that I was being kept from loving it because of the confusion. And I still felt that way here. I kept having to like go back and, okay, who's this one again? Oh, okay, yeah, right, yeah, okay. And so I felt like the stories are fun, right? And which is why I was still willing to go up until 25. I'm caught up, right? On the new series. But Marcus, he's one of the very few that I recognize immediately without having to, have color.
Well, I think that's obviously true of everybody, because that's why all the Optimus Prime pages have this level of cost, and everybody else that are like you, they're like, oh, I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Let's, it's not Optimus Prime, so nobody cares.
But yeah, I would say, like I said, regardless. So that will always, I believe, it's just going to always be that way. It's always going to keep me from loving it, right? So I think I'm limited by the confusion, the constant confusion, and it never seems to get easier for me figuring out who's who. But that aside, as I made the effort to always go back, because once upon a time I didn't even bother. I was too lazy. I thought that would be more frustrating to go backwards and keep flipping. Let me figure out who this is. Yeah, I didn't give a shit. I just, okay, whatever. I don't have time for that. Let me just keep going. And of course, I'd be even more confused because I didn't know who was who and who had done what or whatever. With this series, I've made the effort at least to always try to figure out in the moment, okay, wait a second, who's this? Oh, okay. You know what I mean? But the sad thing is that because the relating who's who and relating the names to the robot, I can't get into a conversation with you guys and tell you, oh yeah, so on this issue, remember when, because I'm like, who's that guy again? Whatever. Like, I can't. It's so frustrating to even try to talk about it because I'm like, oh God, I didn't remember. I don't know. How do I explain who that guy was again, or that character or whatever? The one that looks like this and does that. It's like, it's not even worth my it's, it's going to frustrate me more. So that's why I don't get into conversations with you guys and your Transformers. I live vicariously through you when it comes to Transformers, and I'm glad to see you guys really enjoying, the revival or whatever, and that's about it. But I can say, as much as I can enjoy it, I have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the art. I've enjoyed a lot of the things that have happened. I thought that what they did to Starscream was vicious as all hell. When they like basically screwed him on, for a lack of a better word, onto that rolling, whatever you call that thing or whatever.
The his tank from G.I.
Yeah, the tank, exactly. That was crazy. But he's like a cool character. I like Starscream, so it's kind of like, why would you do that to like one of my cool characters? Like, he's one of my favorites. Like don't do that to him, yeah, overall fun. It was cool to see Megatron come in or whatever into the story over the last while. And except him coming in is cool, but at the same time, I hated it because he came in and started basically pissing on Starscream and
well, that's.
I know.
That's forever their relationship.
No, I know. Yeah. But when you like the character, you don't want him to keep getting shit on. You know what I mean? So,
but did you? Sorry, another honest question. Yeah. You liked Starscream in this?
Do I like him in this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, doesn't he start out like slapping human beings together? I mean, he's like murdering like half the freaking. But human race in the middle of the story, but you felt sorry for him when Megatron comes back and whoops the shit out of him. Like, I don't know. It sounds weird to me, but
I gotta tell you, I was really enjoying Starscream's role, like you said earlier on, until he became the whipping boy. Then I started being like, come on, man, don't do that.
Oh, so you liked him being like the head cheese and doing all the evil stuff. And then when Megatron came back and just smacked him around, then you went, like, oh wait, I thought he was gonna be more evil.
Because you're showing,
fun evil stuff. Okay.
Yeah, because he was showing he was a badass, like, and I'm like, as a jet, those jets are cool, right? As a military weapon, those things are cool. So I like jets. So okay, I'm gonna like the character, right? So for me, yeah, he's acting like a badass. He's taking command and all that. To me, that's like, yeah, it's confidence. Cool, I like that, And then when Megatron came into the picture, it's like, okay, I get the relationship is like that. But I almost felt, I was feeling like, wait a second, like, again, I haven't read that many Transformers comics like you guys. So I was like, I don't remember him being like a massive pansy. Was he always like a pansy to him? Like to Megatron? Because he really flaps him around like he's this pansy-ass wimp nothing. Like,
I don't know if you want to get all insightful into it. They mainly have this kind of dysfunctional father-son relationship, but yes, he's the son, and when father comes home, it's an abusive father that will beat the fucking crap out of him if he doesn't do what dad says. Like, I mean, that's essentially their relationship.
Yeah. I don't know. I just disappointed. It's like
he's always searching for the Starscream's always searching for or going for the leadership role, and if he ever gets it, it's short-lived typically, and then Megatron comes back, and so it's just it's on brand with what the lore of the characters is. But
I just my issue is it's like it feels overdone. It feels like, do you have to make him that much of a wimp when Megatron's around? Like, it just seems like it makes me want to hate the character. Like, you're too wimpy now. You're making me sick now. I don't want you here. If you're going to be that much of a pissant, go away. Like, write him out of the story. Well, like, what's the point of being around if you're such a wimp? Like, I don't get it.
He'll always come back.
One thing I can ask you guys, I never understood, because I haven't read enough comics, I guess. Why does Optimus sometimes not have the arm cannon? What's the deal with that?
That was just in this series. I don't know. I mean, it's happened before, though. I think it's happened somewhere before. Like
in Marvel, didn't he sometimes have it, but sometimes didn't?
Not in the Marvel book. I mean, the if you want to get technical about it, like he's wielded the fusion cannon before, but this whole him ripping his arm off and sticking Megatron's arm off.
No. I'm talking about the black arm cannon that he always.
Yeah, that's Megatron's. Yeah.
But in this version, he has Megatron's whole arm and the cannon.
But what do you mean it's Megatron's? Like in the Marvel comics, I used to have some original covers from Transformers that featured Optimus, and he's got the cannon.
It's not a cannon. It's just his rifle.
Or whatever you want to call it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a big black gun that's attached to him.
But when this is so difficult because Ruben can't see the forest for the trees, and this perfectly encapsulates like why we see how we see things and how Ruben sees things. But Optimus Prime has a rifle. He holds it in his hand. It's a rather large black rifle, but there you go. Visual aids. It looks like that. It looks exactly like that.
Okay.
But in this story, it's this whole arm is gone, and it's Megatron's actual arm because there's a story where
it was a story point.
Off.
Right.
Megatron. So
now
it's all super clear for you. Now we've unlocked everything.
Don't you see that enlightened look on his face? He's like, yes, of course.
The question marks have floated away.
Ruben's just like, what comments were? Let me catch up on comments because I don't fucking know.
Well, Tom is asking, did I ever realize when watching the cartoons, that Starscream and Cobra Commander were the same voice? I can't say that I have a memory of what I thought at the time, so I can't say yes or no to that, Tom.
Did you realize that Starscream and Cobra Commander and Season 1 Mr. Burns all had the same voice?
What? What are you saying?
It's true. Look it up.
The guy who did Mr. Burns did who?
The guy who did the voice of Starscream's name is Chris Latta. He also did the voice of Cobra Commander. And in only the first season of The Simpsons, he did the voice
Mr. Burns.
of Mr. Burns.
Oh wow, wow, that's interesting little tidbits there. Big gun goes boom. Megatron has the barrel of the gun as his arm. Walter P38 and doing his half to the battle. And don't even get me started with G.I. Joe, because that was another similar comic where it was like, at the same time. And it was like, oh, it looked cool when it came out. Okay, I'll buy it. But I don't like when it comes to movies, books, like all different media, I don't like stories with extraordinarily large casts.
Yeah.
I find it's like it's harder to sort of focus and character build, right? Like focus on the main ones. So that's the thing. That's the main reason I didn't get into G.I. Joe too much as well. I didn't fall in love with G.I. Joes because I felt like, man, it's just too many Joes, man. There's too many characters. And then all the Cobra people, there's too many of them. And they kept introducing new ones. You bring in the Dreadnoughts and
they got toys to sell, Ruben. They got toys to sell.
I know. I know. I get it.
I will say I do like how I do think the Skybound stuff is aware of that. So they started off with the character specific miniseries, and I liked how they built that up. But you have to be, you don't have to be, but you have to want to learn about the characters, and then
for sure.
So I do. I mean, and that was also a criticism of the Energon G.I. Joe stuff. Is like, oh, why are there? I just want to see G.I. Joe, but like, I mean, Duke is a character. I never really. He was like kind of vanilla. I don't know. Flint is another character. Flint was always the guy that I liked as the leader. But anyway, but they make Duke an interesting character in the Energon universe. I mean, he's like an '80s action hero, but in this book.
So you keep saying when you do these videos.
It's true. I mean, that's what he is. But I like it. I like how they built up the character list. But they're getting to the point where it's like, well, they keep adding characters. So
I like this one. Someone yelled, "Hey, Joe!" and 150 people turn around. You got a small strike team now.
Yeah, Transformers do not subscribe to the "we have too many X-Men, we have too many Avengers, we need to make a succinct team roster." No, it's we got to sell toys. So bring them all together, let them fight, let them work it out, and see what happens.
By the way, I'm just gonna real quick here. I'm sorry because I forgot to do it at the beginning. I'm going to do some promos because it's been a busy week for you guys. And since you guys are here, I hopefully Lee's still here. I know you're here with me, Carl, so that's great. I'm going to do the promos. I'll do them right now for everybody. Busy week by all our friends, peeps, on the YouTubes. And so I am going to pop in some links here, quite a lot of links. So this first one is from Lee. He has 2 videos this week. When he gets busy, he really gets busy. Unboxings, both. So I'm not going to spoil it for you. I won't even say what it is. All right. Let me get that one in here. So here we go. So 2 for Lee, back to back. And then who came next? So Carl, you get Carl's video this week. So Carl did a video called, I don't know the whole title anymore, but the word that stuck out was G.I. Jovember. It's for the month of Jovember. Like Carl just mentioned, he loves the whole, current G.I. Joe series. Being done at not IDW. Is it Image?
Image. It's Skybound, but they're
Skybound Image, published by Image or whatever. Okay. Yeah. So we did a video on Jovember, so please do check this one out. Remind them. I always remember. Now I'm not remembering, Carl. The length of this one, was it like a 20 or 30 minute one?
No, there's like 18 something.
18 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was closer to 20. Yeah.
There's some original. I needed to add chapters to that. I meant to go back and add chapters to it because there is some original art which I should have done.
Yes, for the art especially. Yeah,
it's kind of buried in the middle there, but
yeah. It was like we kind of mentioned in the comments or whatever.
Carl, I'm curious. Did you hear that announcement about how they're going to be doing some kind of animated version of the Energon universe? Like, are you?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah. I heard big news, right? Like it was so funny. It was so funny. Just literally days before I saw the announcement, I was thinking to myself, because I was looking to see, is the next Transformer out yet? And and I'm like thinking to myself, given how popular this has been, this revival, I'm surprised that they're not making cartoons about this stuff.
It's all part of the Kirkman formula. I mean, look at Walking Dead, Invincible. Like as soon as it was Kirkman, his name was attached, I was like, that's where this is going. So they're I think it'll be interesting. I like that it's not. I mean, I don't say like adult. I mean, not like Spectators adult, but it has. They're not shying away from having it be a more intense show. It's not like geared towards kids.
We're not going to have a Duke and Covergirl go look for a threesome.
Right,
oh my god!
Hey, there's fairness.
Everybody, the last link that I put in, so you all know, that's for Mike NSNart. So he also had a really cool piece commission unboxing this week. So please check out his video. He's already posted it. You may have already seen it if you've been doing the daily thing on CAF. But if not, you should check this out. Some good promo for an artist that needs some more attention. So check that out as well. And let me see if I've got any more. I know I got Nikki B, but Stingray, the man Stingray. So he finally just put one out, I think yesterday or the day before. I just saw it yesterday, so that's why I'm not remembering which day you actually posted it, Newell.
I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
So for Newell, it's an unboxing. So again, I won't say anything, so it's a complete surprise. More fun that way. So there you go. That's the link here in the chat for Newell's new video. And Nick, Nick, this time Kyle did not get the show scheduled in time. But as always, just keep in mind that he has a show for Claiming Art, talk show / claim show every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. So please do check that out if you have some time this Friday. Okay. All right, guys. So that's it for me anyways. I had a music thing I wanted to talk about, but I want to save that for a future hangout episode or whatever. But is there anything that you guys want to either promote, talk about, anything else that you might kind of maybe wanted to say earlier, but you were kind of patiently waiting and never got a chance to bring up or whatever? No?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, we talked about, like, I'm Mr. Henrichon right now, so that's what I'm focused on. We talked about G.I. Joe, so that's what I'll be pumping out more of that kind of those videos. So if you care, you care. If you don't care, I'll see you in December. I gotta say, Marcus is get in touch with Marcus, everybody. If you're hosting a threesome, he's looking for a couple. So
is Marcus? Does that make Marcus a unicorn? Is that what you're telling me?
You said it, not me. We'll leave it to everybody's imagination. But Carl, I did want to say it real quick. Although I have enjoyed up until now the videos that you've been doing with Bunkmaster B, I got to say, when I saw the latest one,
yeah.
I was like, only because, with my own show being so long itself, right? And then wanting to, make sure I catch my friends' videos on their channels. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not. He's doing long form shit. I can't do an hour, whatever.
No.
I'm like,
Ruben, don't bother. I mean, don't like.
No, but I'd like to. I'd like to because I'd like to listen to you guys. It gives me ideas. Hey, maybe I want to read what you guys are telling me is I should read. It's just that 20 minutes, half an hour. Like I can do that. But now I'm just like
2 hours.
Yeah. I got to start adding because your latest one is like one and a half or something like that.
Yeah, it was almost 2 hours. Yeah,
almost 2 hours. Yeah, pretty long.
The idea, like that one. So it's the Tired Dad's Comic Club. It's just like Bunkmaster B. It's a guy that I kind of met through doing videos. He also,
I know,
right. So and I just, it's fun to talk to him about comics. Like, so we started doing that, and the idea is that most of the time, so we don't do a lot of. The one episode I tried to put a lot of like pictures and stuff in there, and it's like the editing just took fucking forever. And I was
Yeah,
like,
the
oh
editing
my
sucks.
God, you know.
Yeah.
So the idea is that recommended is just listen to it. I mean, I wouldn't need to watch most of our faces for 2 hours.
Oh no, that I know. The thing is, when you have a guy like me who already even like you got your comic and comic art shit, right? But more than that, for me, it's just because you guys with your smaller channels like mine, right, who all do pre-recorded stuff, and usually it's 5 minutes to half an hour, whatever. I feel like, okay, no matter, even if it's a heavy week and you all have videos, I'll make the room, I'll do it. The thing is that I also watch a fucking boatload of sports and politics videos, right? And I feel like with all that combined, if any of the comic videos start to go from 5 to 30 minutes and suddenly 1.5 hours, 2 hours, I'm like, oh shit, no, I can't. Like, I can't. You know what I mean? So that's all it is. So
the whole idea of the show was to test your limits of friendship. That was it's the only thing. It's like, let's make this 2 hours long. Okay. Let's see.
And you failed miserably.
I failed. That's it.
Thanks a lot, Ruben. Thanks,
everybody. This is the end between Carl and myself. You will never see us again, and don't expect him back here again. And I will never be in his channel, and that's it. So, I thank you for having enjoyed our friendship until now. But as of this moment onward, it is over.
I mean, listen. In all seriousness, I appreciate everything that you've done as far as promoting things, but like, do not feel compelled to like have to watch and pay attention to everything, because that's a lot. It's a lot, man.
No, I know.
And I don't. And I feel no ill will at all. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, and actually, it's funny. I always feel guilty because every once in a while, I want to listen to something comic related again to get ideas or whatever, and so I'll go to Derek's podcast. I always forget. Derek, let everybody know what your
if people just want to listen to like audio stuff, they could either go to fanholespodcast.blogspot.com, or you could look it up on Podbean. Like, I mean, or type it into a podcatcher or whatever. Like, I mean, we're kind of inconsistent in the sense that we talk about whatever we feel like, but if you like comics, I mean, we have a comic show, so it's like, and that, usually most of the episodes drop on a Wednesday, but sometimes we have theme shows. So we do like Transformers Tuesdays,
right?
So on Tuesdays, and that's more focused on Transformers stuff. But we've got all kinds of other stuff. Like basically this whole month, it was like Halloween related stuff. So when we did a comic episode, it was all about quote unquote horror comics or whatever, right? So we talked about the Demon. We talked about Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, and we talked about Batman versus Aliens. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you and you just want to listen to something, I don't know, put it on your podcatcher and check it out. And like Carl says, if you're like, holy shit, there's a lot of episodes here, I can't keep up with this. Like, I've got 50 fucking Rob Liefeld podcasts in my queue, and I'm never gonna have time to listen to all of them. Then don't stress, just pick and choose what you like, cherry pick, and listen to what you want.
If the time is there, great. If it's not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, what's funny about the podcast, right? It's true, like what the comment I just put up from Sean, right? Like, just do other stuff while listening, whatever. It's not like I don't do that sometimes with certain YouTube videos, let's say, right? The crazy thing is, and there's no way to get around this, whatever, because I watch too much shit. I listen too much shit. That's the problem, right? The craziest thing is that, like sometimes, like for example, I remember a few weeks ago, I went to Fanholes and I was like, because Derek had he had done a 4-part series on this New Titans storyline that he and I both love, right? And so I was like, okay, this is perfect for me to do my work while I listen, right? Because I don't have to watch, right? But it's so funny how, like, as I'm listening to it, I enjoy it so much that I find myself wishing, like, why couldn't this be a video? I want this to be a video, right? And then other times when I'm watching a longer form video, I feel like oh man, this is too long. Does this need to be a video? I can be doing something else while I don't even pay attention to the video. I should just listen to it. It's weird, you know. Sometimes I want it to be more like a video rather than just audio. Other times I want it only audio. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird, but the way that Derek and his friends go about doing his Fanholes podcast, and again, I only haven't listened to more only because again, there's only so much time in the day, right? But it's fun. I like it. It's like a handful of friends, whatever, 2-3 friends he's got with him, just shooting the shit. And it's kind of like what we do here. You know, you laughing about stuff. They'll say stupid shit, and it's funny. And you know, again, it's all friendly type stuff, right? So it's just it makes you feel welcome when you're listening to it. It makes you giggle at times, whatever, when they say stupid shit, whatever. And yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So you guys should check it out. Fanholes. I always remember the name Fanholes. It's just that I'm always like, oh yeah, but what's the name of the URL? Because it's not fanholes.com, you know?
Yeah. It's just, you know, the easiest thing is to go to the blog spot if you want to go to the blog spot. It's just fanholespodcast.blogspot.com, or just, you know, type in Fanholes in Podbean, or type Fanholes in whatever the hell you're interested in Google, and you'll probably find something, you know, so.
Yeah. So there you go. Check it out, everybody. And yes, I'm very aware. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm very aware how long my shows are, which is why it's not like I have anything to say about somebody doing long form content. It's just that me as a fan, you know, there's already so much on my plate. I'm like, oh my God, I hope everybody else that I know who does YouTube stuff or, you know, podcasts, you know, it's all pre-recorded so far. I hope they continue just doing pre-recorded 5 to 30 minutes. You know, I can squeeze it all in, even if it's a heavy week. I can do it, you know. But like, you know, once I started seeing, you know, the longer ones, oh my God, here we go, an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. Like, fuck, you know. And like, I don't know who it was, but somebody mentioned, well, yeah, just listen to it while you work. That's the problem. I've got so many other things I also already listen to while I work. You know, it's like, oh my God, there's only so many hours in a day, right? So. But it's fun. I'm glad that you guys are doing stuff. You know, it's good to see everybody doing stuff. And you, Derek, I mean, you've been doing it longer than the rest of us anyways. How many years have you been doing that now?
The podcast, like, I don't know, almost 15 years. I don't know, like a long time with that. And then, I made YouTube videos for a long time before that too. So, right. But you know, the whole monetization thing, that was never my game or anything. And, you know, I don't know. I just haven't, editing actual videos. And, you know, to me, it seems like you guys found the sweet spot. Just do some live streams and have people listen to you and shit. Like, that seems really easy, right? But, you know, actually, like, you know, making, I guess they call it video essays now is what the kids call it. But I feel like I was making video essays before that was a thing. And, I just haven't really had the time or inclination to do that. And honestly, for me, it's a lot easier rather than even doing streaming is, you know, just, you know, record audio and clean it up and send it out. And you just have a little conversation. And I feel like that's, you know, I don't know. That's just, you know, how I enjoy spending my time with my friends, you know? Yeah. That's, and like, I've always said the same thing, right? We're saying the same thing. And that's why I've continued to do this, even in this, I would say, the entirety of 2025, when it's just gotten harder and harder to, you know, get people to come on and whatever. New people, right? Find new people. But I also feel bad about going back to the well on the, you know, you guys, you know, asking the same people to come back again. So I feel like that's why I do so many of these live studio when I have to do hangouts, because I do a hangout because I don't have a guest to do anything with. And then even the hangout episodes become live hangouts because I feel bad. I don't want to make people feel obligated to say yes to me and invite them on to hang out with me. So I just okay, I hope somebody comes on. And that's why when on occasion, when you guys do, I really appreciate it, because it's so hard to do it, you know, by myself, you know, keep talking. It's like, oh my God, it's exhausting.
You could do it, Ruben. I
know I can, but I don't like it. You know, I really don't.
No, it's much more fun when it's like, you know, shoot the shit, kind of have fun with friends. Like that's
at least one live person, because it's great. It would be a little bit easier if there was no delay, like if there was no broadcast delay, so that I saw the comments in the chat live when they hit, right? That would be a little more helpful, not a lot, because again, it's still when you have nobody with you and you're doing live stream, it's just exhausting to have to keep talking because you can't stop talking. That's the thing. You can't. If you're alone in the studio and you're live streaming, you cannot stop talking because you know what I mean, right? The energy immediately, boom, it gets sucked out of the room, right? And it's like, why? You're live. Why would you suddenly stop talking and just,
It's interesting.
You know what I mean?
It's interesting you say that though, because I've seen plenty of content where people just don't give an F about any like I guess we should be appreciative that you have that work ethic and/or mentality, because I've seen plenty of shows where people just like, hang on for a minute, I'm going to the bathroom, and then they leave for like 10 minutes, and you're like, what the fuck? Or I'm gonna go have a smoke, I'll be right back, and you're like, you'll be right back, like what? Like so,
Yeah, I know. I know, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I always feel like it's one of those things where I don't know, like, just it's like television, it's like live television. Even if it's like network television. If you're on network television, you can never do that. Like, you can't just have sudden silence happen, right? With millions of people watching. And yeah, it's easy to say, well, you don't got millions of people. It's only a few dozen live, and then a few hundred later on real. That's true. But it's still a few dozen. And for those few dozen, I mean, I know as a viewer, if I'm watching, I've seen this happen. I've been watching some live stream, right? Not necessarily comics, but whatever, some other shit. And I'm watching, and they're so laid back that they just suddenly stop talking. Like the guy, there's only one guy in the studio, and he's talking, but then he stops talking. And you could see he starts to look at something on his computer. He starts doing something else, and it's like, what are you doing? Like,
Hey.
You need to talk, dude. What am I sitting here to watch you do something on your computer? I don't know what you're doing. Like, you can't. You got to keep talking. So, yeah, and it's just when you don't have people to talk, a voice, an actual voice to sort of, bounce back off of or whatever. Yeah, it's hard, man. So that's why I super appreciate it. And like I said, with you guys, when you do like pre-recorded shit, I also know how hard that is because I considered doing some pre-recorded stuff. I was thinking of some ideas a while back, and a couple of years ago, right? And then I thought, fuck that. It seems like that's a hassle too, because it seems like what people see visually is, oh, look at this guy's 5 or 10 minute video. That's easily consumable. Well, sure, it's great it's quick and dirty for the viewer, but even at 5 or 10 minutes, holy shit! Now that I ended up doing 15-minute videos for unboxings like 8 or 9 times, and I had to kind of clip out certain parts of it or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Just
and I notoriously when I talk, it's just like I was like, God, shut up and get to the point, Carl. Like just I stammer and stuff.
You clean yourself up when you do that. I mean,
that's what I mean. Like,
that's fine. I mean,
but that takes time. It takes time.
Yeah,
like, oh God, why did I I suck at this?
I always feel like you get better at that stuff when you're the one doing the edits, because then you realize what all your punctuation ticks are and all that other stuff, and then you start mentally like, okay, I will not say so, I will not say I will not say like, or whatever your tick is, right? Like
I say them all, and I say them often. I was like, and then I'll realize as I'm talking, I'm like, okay, let me just say a chunk of what I just said again and more concise. Then because I talk enough, I talk a couple minutes, and then I find out what I'm trying to say, and then okay, and then I'll say that again.
But
the
anyways,
editing stuff, I hate editing.
Yeah, and that's the thing a lot of people don't know about people who do pre-recorded content on YouTube, for example. They could be 10, 15-minute videos, whatever the case may be, but as quick and easy as it may be for the viewers to digest that, they don't realize, like a lot of people don't realize that it's literally, for a lot of those people, it's hours of work, like from start to finish, right? From the beginning of, okay, what am I going to plan for my video? How am I going to say? What am I going to say? All the way till they do their takes, record themselves, and do all the editing. Like plenty of YouTubers, I've seen them say it takes like 4 or 5 hours to do this 1 15-minute video. That's how much time it takes out of my day, you know? It's like, holy crap, yeah.
That's
And
why
like I said, I got a taste of it by doing my pre-recorded unboxings that I did. It was taking me like, I don't know, and I only wanted to clip like a minute here, a minute there, whatever. So still, I didn't do much editing, but it still took me like an hour and a half to do my, to do from start to finish for a 15-minute video. I was like, I'd rather. When I did that, I was like, oh yeah, I'd definitely rather just go Sunday night, no plan, whatever. Let me just talk for 5 hours, 3 hours, or whatever.
Much easier, yeah.
Whatever, yeah. It's long, but at least it's more fun long, right? Whereas 5 hours editing a video, that's not really fun. You can't say that's enjoyable. You know
There's
what I mean?
many times where I'd rather have like recorded something new than sit down and try to edit what I already recorded. I'd rather talk about something else, and it's like, oh god, like
I think the final result is your fun or your affirmation of a job well done, right? Like once all that process is finished, and then you release it and go, oh, look at that. Look at that nicely crafted, edited 5-minute video. Then you get to see the fruits of your labor. But you're right. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of time. So, I mean, and that's why sometimes, some of those things, like I said, I mean, I used to make hour-long YouTube videos. I mean, people considered them documentaries. And I was like, well, but that takes a lot of time too. And then it got to the point where people are like, well, when's the next one? And I'm kind of like, I don't know. It takes a lot of time, and I'm not, I don't always have that time. So
yeah, and it's only going to go on as long as it's still fun. So if it's not fun, I'll be like, peace out, I'm done. Like it's not, because I'm not trying to be like, I don't care. I just want to have fun talking about the things that I like.
Yeah, and it's the same for me, right? It's like I stopped like this calendar year, like it started to become not fun. Not being here, because being here is always fun once we're live, right?
Yeah.
But the stress from every 7 days, like finish tonight. We're gonna finish tonight, and I'm already thinking, oh God, I have nothing planned for next week. What am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Like I don't feel like reaching out to people to do, what do you call it, show and tells or whatever. I want to do show and tells, but I don't feel like asking and looking for people that, so I'm already stressing, I usually like to take my Mondays off after, because tonight, the Sunday nights go long. So I like to kind of Mondays more of my weekend. But then after that, I'm stressing like, oh my God, what am I going to do for next Sunday? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? So it's just stressful. And I just began to really dislike the feeling of, oh yeah, but I got to do it. I got to do it. And I know people say like, oh, you don't have to do it. Just take a week off. Well, like I've said in the past, I know me. If I take a week off, it's going to feel so good, like, right? Oh, knowing that I could sit and just read comics on a Sunday night because I don't have to be here or watch football or whatever I'm going to do, watch a movie, whatever it is. It's going to feel so good. I can almost guarantee the following Sunday, I'd be like, that's only one extra one. Who cares? It's just 2 weeks off. Who cares, right?
Little vacation.
Yeah. And once it's 2, I know it's that's the end, and maybe I'll be doing it once every 3 to 4 weeks, whatever. And I just don't want that to happen, So that's the thing. I know a lot of these guys, they could joke as much as they want, but I know a lot of the viewers do like having this sort of weekly thing that they can do where they're a part of it, right? Where they can get in on the laughs and have a chat with me and whoever's with me in the studio and stuff. I think there's a value to that, and I don't want to lose it as much as I hate the weekly, that feeling of, oh God, I gotta do something this week. I gotta do something this week. I gotta, it's really kind of weighing on me, and it has been all year really. But as much as it does, I'm like, fuck it, like. That's why I this year I've done so many of these episodes, right? The hangout episodes, because I've got nothing else to do. So my choice is finally say, fuck it. I'm not doing nothing this week, or just come on and have some fun with the guys. We'll talk about whatever, And I ultimately feel like, okay, at least if I do that, it gives them something to do on a Sunday night, and they seem to, you guys seem to appreciate it or whatever. And so that's why I keep doing it. But it's still exhausting. You know what I mean?
I mean, this is a good. I mean, since you are now like reading comics digitally, your access to more stories have opened up. Like, this is a good format because I think a lot of us in the. I mean, I'm going to generalize, but people in the comic art collecting community, a lot of them are beyond reading. You know, like
right.
you know, there's that idea that current comics suck. They're not out. You know, and a lot of and I've said it before. I'm a broken record, but I've read my favorite Superman or Spider-Man, whatever it is. But there's so much. Comics is much more than that right now. We're living in like a really solid time for some great books that are out there in like the indie scene and that kind of stuff. But there's some good books out there that appeal more to who we are now in our lives. So like Spider-Man shouldn't necessarily be for our age. You know, whatever that should appeal to a younger reader, and I want them to go find that group. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing is like it's interesting. I want to keep, reading more. It's fun. And the more I read, I know that, okay, I whenever I have these hangout episodes, that's when I can talk about some comics or whatever. So that'll, the more I read, the more material it gives me to talk about. But at the same time, I believe it or not, I feel guilty. Every time I have a hangout episode, I feel fucking guilty because I realize that every time I do hangout episodes, they tend to be about everything except for original art. And I'm always like thinking, all the regulars, a lot of the regulars probably don't give a shit, whatever, because a lot of them don't read comics. They're not going to care. And they're going to be thinking, fuck, you're not doing any more original art content anymore. What's going on? Whatever, So
it's not bad to pepper that in. Like,
I don't think it's wrong. And I don't think it's bad. I like it. It's just that knowing the audience, it's hard because I feel like if you're playing to an audience, you should be doing the things that hopefully you think they like, And I kind of know that going into it, a lot of these guys don't read comics. So, so they're going to be like either tuning out or they're going to be listening like, So it's that whole thing where it's like, I want to do it because I want to do it. And it gives me something, a focus as part of the episode. And I hope that it maybe gets people like me who are, for many years, non-readers, maybe think about getting back into it. But again, at the same time, I know that it's an uphill climb. And like I say, a lot of the viewers are like, whatever. They're probably thinking, I don't give a crap,
But ultimately, do what you want to do. And the people that want to see what you have to say will show up. And those that don't give a shit about comics will watch it. And like, whatever. And that's okay. Like if it kind of recharges your battery, at least if like to plug in like once a month, that's what I'm gonna talk about. And it is what it is. So I
agree, but I guess part of the guilt stems from the fact that I read a few comics last night. I really enjoyed it. Not always able to fit in, but still love them. There you go. Whenever you can, Ian and Sean. I don't read comics and haven't for years, and yet here I am. I know, but that's some of you, but not all of you. That's the thing. So I tune in for the rants and the singing. I know you do, Peter. I know I know who the guys are that I can usually count on to be here. I get that, but there's a lot that don't, and that's shown to me by the views ultimately, right? I can see the views. I'm like, oh, okay, on this show is a lot less. And that's another stress though, Carl, because it's those things where like, yes, on the one hand, I feel like I don't give a shit, whatever. I do it because I want to do it. But on the other hand, if you are doing it for an audience, right? There's an audience there. You kind of have to give a shit to some degree, because otherwise, why would you do it? Otherwise, right? Because otherwise, I might as well just call up you and Derek one day and just say, hey, guys, let me know when you have some free time, whatever. We'll do a StreamYard thing privately together. We'll just talk and shoot the shit about comics. You know what I mean? Right? Because we could do that, right? And nobody else has to watch us talk about it. So that's why I feel like guilt about it, because there is an audience. And if you're doing it if you're not going to do it for the audience, why do it at all? You know what I mean?
I mean, I view it like the thing I'm doing with punk. Like I
Right.
want to use it as an excuse just to like get together and talk with him. And it's like, if we're gonna do it, let's just record it. And who gives a shit? If somebody finds it and stumbles upon the video, great. If not, okay. I'd still like having the conversations with
I mean,
them.
that's the only way
you know.
to do things like this. If the audience is with you, great. If not, fuck them. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't really matter. Like if you want to tie this into original art, think a little harder. Quan Chang just dropped a shit ton of Dan Moira art. We could have spent half the show talking about that, but you know what? I don't really care about that too much, and I didn't bring it up, right? Like so to me, I'm like, I like that Legion story. I like the art in it. It was a great story, you know, like and that's fine, right? Like, but I mean, if you're constantly searching for ways to integrate like, you know, away talk into stuff, like, okay, well, you know, then spend a little more time on it. But if that's too much of a hassle, then do what you're doing. I mean, you know, I'll be honest, like some stuff to me, like, you know, maybe I'm not as keen on all the paperback art talk, right? And it's like, okay, well, you know, sometimes I tune into that stuff, and sometimes I, you know, I'm like, okay, let me tune out. You know,
in my defense, it's not like I've ever done more than fucking 2 of those episodes in the entire time.
But that's what I'm saying. Like
Like
that's not any reason for you to be concerned one way or the other. If I watched it and I loved it, good for me. But if I didn't, who cares? If you enjoyed doing it and discussing it with whoever your co-host was, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure. For something like that, especially since I don't do it often, I absolutely have no guilt. I want to do that for my own pleasure and for my friend who I did it with, right?
But you have a core, you know, audience, right? So then if you bring that stuff in who have no connection to it, you're just providing, you know, more access to different types of art. And
yeah,
that's cool. So it's the same thing with the comics. Like the people that watch the show, if they find a comic that we talk about, or you talk about, or whatever, it's like, oh, that sounds interesting. Maybe they'll go check it out. Maybe they won't. Whatever.
Yeah.
Or they're here for like the, you know, you saying schlong, you know, whatever it is that.
For me, not just the word schlong, but for me saying it, you know, that's specifically that's what I'm for.
Like I'm gonna come back next week to see what he says, you know. So like, who cares?
And then you take Marcus's suggestion. You edit out the 5-minute clip of Ruben saying schlong, and you put that on the Instagram, right?
Yeah, schlong. There you go. Viral video, Ruben.
Do not give him any ideas, please. Yeah. Do not give him any ideas.
But I just said it 3 more times, so it's going to be a back and forth. Like, oh, this is what Ruben talked about on his shows, and it's just us repeating the same deal.
All right, man. But thank you. We're going to close this one out, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thank you, obviously, Derek. This really worked out great, especially for this, because I really did want to talk about those comics, and I'm happy it worked out the way it did, particularly because I almost emailed you just a couple days ago about it. I got busy and I was like, fuck, I don't have time for that now. I don't want to just write a quickie email or whatever. So when I get more time, I'll write him. Then I thought, wait a second, I'm doing Hangout this weekend. I'm going to talk about comics anyways. I'll talk about those comics as well. And maybe he'll be here. And if he is, that'll be pretty cool. I'll be able to get his feedback and let him know that way on what I thought. And then the fact that you were also willing to come in made it even better because we could go back and forth live, right? So, yeah, man, I appreciate that. So that's really awesome. Carl, also, likewise, same to you, man. I appreciate always, as you know.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, guys, again, obviously, don't know what's happening next week. It could very well be a Hangout again. Bring anything you want. At least one of us will have seen it or read about it and then talk about it. Thanks, Brian. Although you're rarely here anymore because you always got to work at night. But I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that you, and thank you for thanking our friends that have come in to help me out. I appreciate that. Thank you. Need more Chuck Norris. Have a good one. Tom, have a good one. Appreciate it. Don't take it personally that I didn't like the suggestion, the comic you suggested. Have a good one, Marcus. Thank you. Appreciate it, Tom. Thank you. Thank you for always being here as well. That's very appreciative. What else? Night to you, Ian. Thanks for coming in as late as it was. Appreciate it whenever you can. Hope the girls are all doing well as well, by the way. And Tissalong show indeed. Oh, your mom's birthday. Okay. Well, happy birthday to your mom, and I hope she's doing better. Hope she's doing well, man. And I know you miss the live chats. I know you do. I know. Always great to have you, man, whenever you can hang. So thank you. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you as well. Thank you. And good to see you, Lee. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, fellas. Have a great week. Again, everybody have a great week. And we shall see you next Sunday. Check out Nikki B, of course, again, Friday. And I'll see you here next week at the usual same time, same bat channel. And as I always say, go blue.